to the Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, episode 118.
Ooh.
The Prom Night
118.
Franchise, excluding the remake, of course, but fuck the remakes.
Prom Night
The remake.
Franchise, which I actually watched.
What did you
Did you
watch?
watch the remake?
I
I've never
watched
seen
the
it.
remake.
I've never
It's,
seen it.
I don't even know. Again, I'll talk about it quickly later. I don't even know if it's got the Prom Night name and it's about a killer on prom night. There's really no other connection to the first movie.
Well, at least there's a prom in it, unlike part 4.
There's a prom in part 4.
There's a problem in
I'm
part 4.
gonna
There's a problem in every
choke-
movie.
They drive by it. Yeah,
I'm gonna choke the head off you.
Let me stick my ass out at the prom. Oh, okay.
They went just enough prom. Well, we'll get to part 4. We're gonna start in part fucking 4. I got problems with 4.
Uh-oh. Problem.
There were more flowers than proms in Prom Night 4. They should have called it Midsommar 2.
But hold on.
Are you checking off all your jokes early? Sorry.
No, in defense of Prom Night 4, B, the movie is not called Prom. It's called Prom Night. The film does take place on Prom Night, correct?
Yeah. Well, we'll get
There
to
you go.
that. Why don't we get to that? There's so much shit going on right now, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
We got all those updates with the Friday the 13th box set.
Woo!
The uncut gore
Oh,
footage.
God. Here
Hey!
we go.
Shut up, you yellow belly son of a bitch. Look, I've said this. You could go back to our retro. You could go back to all the early episodes of TGAF 13, which I'm putting on a new site, going independent, everybody. So
Yeah,
I'll be
indie.
posting that
That's
to
the
the
way to
page.
go.
Yeah. It's good.
I
like
lose
doing it
everyone.
again.
You still won't be able to find the show.
Waka waka. I had an audience once. The reality would be that I love uploading my own episodes and having control over that aspect. I've come to realize. So that's coming back. We will probably do one that shares the feed, or that I'll put on both, and then it will eventually just go to Sounder FM. But I'll post it to the page when ready.
I don't appreciate you trying to lure our listeners over to TGI.
I'm gonna do it all the time. Poaching them.
All right, should I let you? I guess you
gee.
guys should do your 10 minminutes of.
Oh,
I can't believe we're getting an uncut part 15.
Well, we're
an
not-
added 13
it's the
seconds of
footage.
part 8.
You know how
Shut
it's
up.
fucking-
And you're just as excited. You're coming in your pants just as much. This is the footage everybody thought was gone, but we've been joking about it because I remember, now whether it be from that documentary or whether it be from something read in Fango, I remember that Carl Fulton said he had video footage of it. Now, Nicotero did say it in the documentary. So I'm like, I even said this. Did anybody freaking ask Carl if he had it? I guess nobody did. So he's got this videotape. But that story of how they had to get the footage off that videotape is amazing.
Yeah, they baked it and shit. Those
Yeah.
like gingerbread men. It's fucking crazy.
You know what I'm really looking forward to is the scene in part 2 now where Ginny says it was me, you rat bastard, and then the rat runs away.
Yeah.
What I'm looking forward to in part 2 is the uncut scenes of what's her name? Shit. See, it's too early in the morning. It's Sunday morning, and I'm just started on my coffee and
Vicky.
And it's Saturday.
yeah. That too.
That too. And
Oh yeah, see, and it's Saturday. Yeah, see, I'm all fucked up. I was sick. I got fucking really drunk at a party last Saturday night. Threw up everything. I never drink. And long story short, I was hungover for 2 days, and then after those 2 days passed, I was sick all week long. Like I fucking felt weak and fucking a little temperature. Just fucking. I had not been on the treadmill in a week.
That's
fucking
called
disgusted.
COVID.
Well, I hope it ain't damn COVID. I know, right? But
was
now I'm
it a
feeling
COVID
like,
party?
I'm not feeling better today. Maybe it was unintentionally, but I've been all fucked up all week. And then last night I didn't sleep good. I had a fantasy draft last night, and and I don't play. I draft for other people. But anyway, long story. It's true. Well, hold up. And let me tell you what. I retired from this shit like 6 years ago. Oh yeah, I did. I retired. It is tiring.
Are you still drawing on your 401k from fantasy?
I still have profits because that's how good at it I was. I from 1990, 2000, I don't know, fucking 12 or 13 or whatever the fuck it was. 2011, I believe. So I think I played for fucking 31 years. So now, whatever, how many years that is. Either way, I played for a long time, and I'm a sore loser. And I had a lot of success with it. And one day, long story short, I got really pissed off at the end of the season because two things happened in a matter of fucking the last two games. And I said, fuck this shit. And I said I will never fucking play again because I'm a sore loser. I can admit that. So I got really mad because I got boned on some two fluke things that happened and knocked me out of the fucking playoff rounds. So then, now because of this, people that I've known all my life, friends for 35 years, they call me because I want to go to the draft because all my friends are there and I never get to see them. So it's an excuse to hang out with old friends, So the thing is, every year someone's dragging their feet and something happens, and they ask for, this will be the 5th year in a row that I've drafted for someone else in the league because they would rather have me draft their team than them because they're afraid to get in the last place. If they get in the last place, they got to pay pizza and beer, and they're embarrassed. So they trust me drafting more. They trust me drafting their teams more than they trust themselves. So that is saying enough.
Do you take a cut? This is what you should be doing. It should be like a pyramid scheme. Like you get like X amount. What? That'd be illegal.
No, illegal morally for me. Because here's what I said. Let me explain. I know it's funny, but I've only used the term twice in my life. And twice when I used it, I said it just so I know I'd never go back. That's how serious I am about this. I was so mad that day. I ran upstairs. I was just, I was with my wife. And we were just early in the relationship, too, like the first year, whatever. I ran upstairs, and I fucking threw a temper and pouted like a fucking 12-year-old boy that had his toys taken away. I laid down on the bed. I was like, argh! I was so fucking mad. I went upstairs, and this is what I said. These were the words. I said, I swear on Francesca's soul, I will never play fantasy football again. And I said that intentionally because I knew if I used those strong words that I never would. So I was so mad at that point that I said, I want to make sure I never play this fucking shit again. So I said that twice. I said that once when I left Casino Niagara, right before I moved to Vegas. Every time I went to Casino Niagara, I lost. One time I left Casino Niagara and I said it to my friends. I said, I swear on my firstborn soul, years before she was around, I swear on my firstborn soul, I will never fucking set foot in this casino again. And I never did. So I've said that twice because that's serious business. So I had a draft last night. Here I am. I'm fucking tired. And
is there any way we can get Christian to be a sore editor? Maybe you could draft him a resignation notice.
I swear on Brandon's soul, I'm keeping this totally edit free.
Nice. Anyway, getting back to what I said, Vicky, that's what I'm looking forward to. 17-year-old underage Vicky.
How the fuck did that get off on a whole tangent? We were talking Friday 13 boxing, and I'm getting drafted to Afghanistan over here. I don't know what the fuck.
And literally, Christian said Vicky right before Dave went into the rant.
I gave you the name.
You were like, what's her name? And Christian's like, Vicky. Then you're
like,
not
Vicky. It's Sandra. Jeff and Sandra. It's not even Vicky. Don't fucking tell me. I was see. That's what I get for listening.
You didn't even explain it. You said, "What's her name?" I was starting to list off character names.
What? Oh, yeah, but Vicky didn't have any nudity, and there was nothing cut in Vicky's scene, so it doesn't matter.
Except her head off.
My understanding is we're not getting unless they're doing something where the whole because it sounded like the whole damn movie was transferred to that videotape. So maybe they just said the uncut gore scenes. So maybe they're just taking the gore scenes out and putting them into slash scenes, or maybe they're doing what they did with the TV cut for Halloween 2 or The Thing or whatever, and they're actually including everything from that's on that videotape. Because it sounds like it was a full transfer. In one sentence, you get that it was scenes for his reel, and the other on the actual label, it says Friday the 13th Part 2.
Yes, but they're not going to be part of the feature. But that's okay, because here's what I think.
I meant they're going to have the 4K scan and then have a whole separate version.
Can I make a full transfer to a different podcast right now?
You may.
I disagree. I think it's gonna be just a fucking a thing. Bonus features. Press the button. Deleted scenes from Friday 2, and then it's gonna be a fucking 2-3 minute thing.
And I'm good
of course, they're not gonna show underage fucking what's her name, Sandra. And it's just a joke, of course. Although she was very attractive, but 17, it's not legal in every state, so I guess that's underage, isn't it?
Maybe we'll be fine in Canada then, because no, I think still it's 18, but. It's funny because you're talking about statutory rape, joking about it, because that's what we joke about on the show a couple episodes ago. But it's actually 16 is age of consent, I think, and 18 is adult, but 16 is age of consent in Canada. I think I'm speaking on behalf of all provinces.
Yeah, because that's how it is here. It's all different. Whatever, every state's different. New York is 18, maybe 17. I don't even know. It's 16 in Vegas. I remember because I was there. I remember seeing it.
Sick Canadian fucks.
No, anyway, but nudity and everything is still 18. You have to be an adult.
Oh yeah,
I'm talking about. Yeah, there's
NFW
age of consent. Age of consent versus. Able to be seen naked on film. I see. I got you. Yeah, I guess they can't do that. And of course,
you can't do that.
You can't say that. Someone said that on Twitter right away. They go, I can't believe that they're saying yes, that scene with Jeff and Sandra. And I'm thinking, and this woman went off on this tangent. And I said, wait a minute. They're not talking because she was doing. They're talking because it's a famous scene where they got fucking shish kebabbed, where they got fucking, in the thing and everything else. And people know about it. They're not saying they're excited about that because they're going to show a fucking 17-year-old girl naked. Get off your fucking high horse, lady. But anyway, all that aside, I think it's going to be it's going to be stuff that we've waited for that I'm really excited about. The gore is going to be great. But the thing is, it's going to be a bonus feature on the side. But here's what I truly believe. They only got this stuff a couple days ago or a week ago or whatever by the time you listen to the show, whatever. They got it with like 6 weeks to go to get this fucking box set out. You know what I mean? It's coming out on the 13th. This news broke around the beginning of September. So it's a 6-week turnaround. The fact that they just got this stuff, I think it doesn't afford them enough time to do what they did with My Bloody Valentine. But they have the technology. They did it with My Bloody Valentine. We've seen it. So my belief is that a year from now, they're going to put out a part 2 completely restored with the gore scenes. And yes, I will spend the money. I don't care. To have that as it was meant to be seen would be so worth it. And I got to say, just the fact that they did all this stuff and everything that they are putting out, I got to give Scream Factory mad props here because they are really going out. I mean,
maybe they'll just push this box set back to next October
due to COVID. Dave won't buy
it. and they're gonna put the new Halloween in there, so you really won't buy it.
You got to take it, but with the new Halloween.
I thought about something. Did you guys know that they filmed Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends at the same time? So just maybe just maybe, a year from now, they could really do everybody a favor and make up for being assholes this year and put it out as one whole fucking film next October. How cool would that be?
It would be cool. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
It would be
cool. That's it. That's 2 movies. They'll never do it.
But it is. But I'm
can't say that.
Or maybe they'll do a Guns N' Roses Use Your Illusion and they'll put them both out the same day. You know what I mean? Like just one, just 2.
That would be amazing. No one's ever done that. They did Back to the Future 2 and 3 like that, in the sense they filmed it like that, and they released them 6 months apart, I believe. But imagine that, like Use Your Illusions. What if you go see Halloween Ends first?
I have a feeling they're both going to be more like the spaghetti incident anyway than Use Your Illusion. Let's be honest.
Oh, this. You could have said Chinese democracy.
I like democracy, damn it.
I actually liked it too. Overproduced as we expected, but it was. I enjoyed it when it came out. This is a pleasant surprise. But anyway, I'm happy because, like I said, going back to my original thing was, We say
Yes.
I know true 3D is not for everybody because no, these TVs are gone. You can still find them used, 3D TVs. So I've got a 3D TV. I've been waiting for a true version of Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D. It's going to be on the set. Great. 4K Sans, great. And that gore footage, great. The really only other thing is everybody's like, I wish they found Part 7. That they have Part 7. We've seen the footage. It's shitty. It's work print bad footage, but we've seen it. And I've always been kind of Like, I was so looking forward to seeing that footage, but I wasn't blown away. Part 5 would be the other one I want.
Speaking of Part 5, another thing. You know there's a 3-minute sex scene in that fucking movie that got cut with what's her name? With Debbie Sue Voorhees? They filmed it as a fucking 3-minute. That's what I want to see it for.
Yeah.
It's gory enough. Seriously, they had pretty much good gore in Part 5. But the thing I've always heard is that they filmed a 3-minute sex scene, and that's what they made a big deal about when they sent it into the MPA. You can't have this much sex.
You can't have this.
Yeah.
Not to be pervy again. But
who was it? Ethelyn Jr.?
Yeah. That would be all. I'd see that for sure. I'd love to see that.
You take it, Ma.
They should have done that.
Don't ever do that face again.
That's the Rob G.
No, wait, that face. I know. Do that again. Wait, I know that face.
I know that
Look a little
face.
bit like Dice. I know.
I know that face.
I've never seen this guy before.
He was in your mind while you were jacking off last night.
Yeah. He kind of looks like he looks a little bit Arabian when he does that face, doesn't he? That's what watch. Tell me if it's true. Do that face. Doesn't he look like fucking Zoltar or something? Or what's that guy?
I will pop you all.
What's that comedian? What's that thing that everybody liked a few years?
What's that?
Mozart or some shit? Borat. Doesn't it kind of remind you of like a Borat type character? Looks.
Yeah. So nice.
So nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, I never saw, but he had something about the way your face looked. It looked a little bit Middle Eastern, I should say.
Something
I always
in the way your face looks tonight.
Wow, we're off the fucking rails. But I am coming in my pants for the box set. I'm looking forward to it. It was great news. Yeah, I mean, this is the definitive set. I've already noticed the used box sets of the last Blu-ray thing that were up to like $600, and maybe it was $600 new. Maybe that's what it was. I've already seen them down like you can get them for $120. Are you
justifying that it's $600 because it's new?
No,
you're like, at least it was new.
Well, no, I still think it's ridiculous. But those would shot way up, and all of a sudden I'm seeing like used $100, $120 for that whole set.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pay $30 for that set.
No,
why
now.
Would anyone even pay for it? Like they were
supposed to sell the same thing. The thing, they got that one set. You buy it at the store. It's like fucking $20, and it's got them on there. The collection. Yeah, you don't need that tin box and that fucking whatever that thing is now. It's not the definitive set where people thought that was gonna be. That fucking lunchbox. Fuck that set. No,
didn't even come with a snack.
Yeah.
It should have come with the fucking, what do you call it? It's the stuff from Part 9. The fucking the snacks they made. Oh no, those were burgers. They have to be cooked.
Like my muffin?
The Lick My Muffin edition, Part 2. That
should be called when they released the uncut version. See, the thing about the uncut footage, though, is it's coming from a VHS source. So it came from film, went to VHS. Now they've got the technology to kind of make that look good. The My Bloody Valentine stuff, I believe, was still camera negative. I believe. Don't quote me on that. It's just camera negative that hadn't aged well.
Why does your face have to be so camera negative?
Deep down, I still love you.
I hate myself for making that joke, but I had to.
You may be right. That makes me sad now, because I think you are. It had VHS type. Ooh, wow. Awesome.
Hey, Prom Night 3.
Yeah, where?
Toss me the football.
Nice. You're right, too. But did you see all the commentaries? Every movie has a commentary, and there's new ones for Part 2. There's an interview with Ginny for Part 2 that's never been. If you look at it, almost every movie has a new feature on it. So they went all out, and I can't wait to get the posters. I have my Friday the 13th room started over there.
I believe the Ginny part will be called the
master bedroom.
Lick my leaky rat edition.
The leaky rat. Yeah. But I got 2 spots left in that room for both posters. For the lithograph, it's 24 by 36, and so they both are. It's just that, they worded it a different way. But I have 2 spots available. They're open, waiting to be filled.
Spots available.
Yeah, I have. Dude, I got the Friday the 13th room in full effect. Friday the 13th / Halloween, because there wasn't enough room.
You walk in there and be like, all right, gentlemen, we got 2 slots available. Yeah. Who's going to earn these 2 slots?
He's got, in one corner, Brandon, you should see, he's got 15 pumpkins all fucking carved up. It's fantastic. I thought it was 1 pumpkin too many, but it...
And he's got a mannequin dressed up like a May Queen.
A mannequin?
May Queen mannequin.
That's the Midsummer room. That's the living room. That's the centerpiece in the living room.
Wait till you see when it's done, man. I'm telling you,
okay.
I went all out.
Well, okay. Last thing about the box set, because I know Brandon's fucking just like, let's move on. There is some weird things though, like they didn't say if the 2009 one's the killer cut or just the R, and they didn't include both. Where every other version they've got like the theatrical and uncut. So that was kind of bizarre. I've got the Blu-ray of that, so I'm not too worried. But I'm just saying, from
Jason Goes to Hell
definitive set.
Can you fucking believe that? See, that Jason Goes to Hell gets 2 discs. There's how many discs in this set? It gets 2 complete discs fucking dedicated to it, and not a word about the fucking remake. I don't know.
That was bizarre. And the other thing was not having, I know they've got him involved, and I know that there's segments from it, but they don't have the actual Crystal Lake Memories documentary as a full bonus disc. Like, why not have that and his name is Jason all combined in this set? That would be, like, it's all part of the universe. It's already there.
Oh, man.
That would have been nice. And then I even read online that fan that made the Part 3 documentary, which you can watch on YouTube, it was like they actually at one point approached him to see if they can incorporate that in the set, but then the powers that be at Shout Factory, or not at Shout Factory, but part of the disc set, didn't want that part of it for whatever reason. So I mean, that's free to watch on YouTube, but it's just weird that there's, they didn't put our podcast on it. Like, is it the definitive set?
You're right. Fuck Joe Lynch and fucking Adam Green. We should, if we ever did a commentary for Friday the 13th, it'd be pretty damn good.
I'm canceling my order.
Can you still get it, by the way? Because I have an order in, another one. I have one that I got day one, and then I have another one on Amazon that I was going to sell. But
did you really order? You ordered 2?
Well, remember I told you about a month ago or so that they were still on Amazon. I said, I'm going to put an order in now. And then if I change my mind between now and then, I could just keep, because they don't take the money out until they ship it. But I did it defensively just in case it's sold out. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I still don't think, even with all this information, I still don't think it's sold out.
I don't think so either, but they did make a lot of them.
They did make a lot of them. So I might not take it. I was just going to get it to flip on it, sit it for a fucking year, and,
It was trending. It was trending on Blu-ray.com. It was like the number 2 or 3 disc sale, and that's pretty sweet considering it is a fringe franchise. As much as us fanboys want it,
it's not French.
Well, I mean,
you can't say that.
Let me rephrase. It is a very popular franchise, but still within the realm of the horror community. I don't think mainstream people are looking to get Friday the 13th.
No. But I'll tell you what, this proves that Friday the 13th is the number 1 franchise. Nobody made a big stink about any fucking other thing that ever got released. As soon as the internet freaking broke that day, people were going crazy trying to get on. Seriously,
I'm telling you, it was a big flip. Where back in the late 80s and in the early 2000s, Freddy still dominated, which is why it was Freddy versus Jason. If they did it today, it'd be Jason versus Freddy, because the Freddy stuff has trickled off. There's still diehard fans of the original series. Don't get me wrong. The remake didn't hit like the remake of Friday the 13th did. It was not as big. Whether you like it or not, it's besides the point. I'm talking from a box office standpoint. And there's been like a lot more buzz. Like, I think there's been one set of the Elm Street series, and there's been numerous sets of Friday the 13th. But anyway, let's get off of it. The only good thing about this is it's about slasher films, which is what we're covering tonight. And so it's a good segue in. A slasher film series.
Films and Prom Night 4.
Yeah.
Don't even start.
He'll be higher rated than I am on Prom Night 4. I guarantee it.
I haven't said anything. I haven't said anything tonight about still hating it or anything. So who knows? Who knows?
Oh, you guys.
I might like it now.
Oh, see, don't let people down. Everybody's expecting you to blow it. You can't tell them.
It's not about blowing it. It's just more being realistic in the time frame. When I watched it before, I had watched 170 something slashers or something like that.
About
it. And it was like, slasher after slasher. It was just give them to me. And I remember watching it going, this is good. Well, this is not as bad as everybody said. Boom, right. 7 out of 10. And that's where
I had that same mentality though, but from the opposite end. Again, watching 150, 160 slashers, I was just like, at the end of my rope, I'm like, this sucks. Everything fucking sucks. I want to be done with this shit. So I think this time watching it was different.
Okay, well, interesting, but that's where it comes from back then. And I think I actually had part 2 and 4 rated the same way at the time, 7 out of 10. And I just gave the edge because I think it got shit on so much. I'm like, I'm going to give it a little bit of props at the time. But then it was at the mercy.
Number 3 slasher of all time. Props.
I got to choke. Like I said, I've said it numerous times already in this show. At some point, I just want to, my hands are aching to just choke the fucking shit out of you. But where I'm going realistically, it should have been 50 at the most. But it edged up, I think, at 46 or whatever. But the reality was, I did
for the box set
of Friday.
We will when we get it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, if I get my promotion at work, I'm gonna still buy that fucking thing and give it away as a fucking drawing on Patreon.
Yeah, fuck you, 20 shots. Fuck you, JP, giving away used DVDs. We're gonna give away a brand new Friday the 13th box set.
That I paid for with my fucking
that
money.
Dave paid for with his own money.
Right. Nobody.
And we're gonna give away Christian's Goosebumps.
Wasn't a screener. Yeah, and yeah.
Don't touch my goddamn Goosebumps.
Although 22 Shots did give away a TV, so there's really got nothing.
You see the prices of TVs when you go into Costco? They give them away with chicken. You buy a pack of chicken, you get a free TV.
Chicken.
Yeah.
Go to Costco.
Chicken. I love that girl. Canadian Family Feud. For a Canadian franchise. Now I know why he loves this franchise so much. But I will say this about this franchise. Yes, it's a Canadian franchise, but this is a true franchise. People don't know, and I didn't realize it till this time watching them 1, 2, 3, and 4. You know what I mean? That they have carryover in each film. They have some things. They stay true to the franchise. They have actors and producers that are in all 4 movies. They have the same score, the same composer. They have they have callbacks to everything, and it really is a true franchise. People look at it and they go, "This one looks like this. This one's comical. This one's ridiculous. This one goes back to this." But they have a priest. They look at it from the outside. If you just for example, like when they're going through the 1991 right now on 22 Shots. So they're just gonna randomly watch part 4. And they're just going to take it for what it is, not thinking about, and it's by nobody's fault. You don't realize it until you watch 1, 2, 3, and 4, sequentially. So just watching it, taking it as a standalone movie, you're like, okay, yeah, it is what it is. But I mean, I respect the franchise because it does hold true to franchise rules. It's cool. They have callbacks. They do what they're, and I never realized that before. I don't know if you guys were aware of it, but this is a true franchise.
I was aware of it because when we researched and did Prom Night on TGIF 13, again, bringing that show up again, isn't it funny? We did talk about the connections to all 4 movies, with Brock Simpson being the most direct one. He's the actor. He's young Nick, and then he's Josh, and I think he's like the cop, Larry the cop.
It's not young Nick. It's little Nicky.
Little Nicky. And then he's the father
Father Colin.
Father Colin in 4. And then the line, of course, the token line is not who you come with, it's who takes you home.
Yep.
That line being carried through. That those are the connections that I was definitely well aware of. Some of the producing, of course, we knew was there. Paul Zaza, I didn't realize he did the score for all of them though.
Yeah, Paul Zaza did all the scores, and Peter Simpson was the producer. And that's why his son was in it, the kid that played those roles, Brock. It's too bad. I watched right before we got on this morning. I watched there was a documentary. It's on the Synapse Blue, and it's about the making. It's like a 40-minute thing, 45 minutes, and it was really good. It was kind of. I'm a little bit sad that it was made after the passing of Peter Simpson. It would have been, because like I said, it's almost like it's his franchise. He produced it all. He had a son and all. He had, he was very much into it, and. It's too bad that he passed away at a young age, 2007. And I don't know exactly when this was made, that documentary, but,
You know what the son's middle name is? Lee.
Brock Lee Simpson?
Brock Lee Simpson. Dave didn't even realize he said broccoli.
I didn't.
I got him.
Got him.
An idiot in suspense, How about that joke? You that Dice said that on a show? He fucked up.
Christian's like, whoa, chill out. Take it easy. Coming in hot.
What happened?
Dice fucked up. Dice was on a show, and he had jokes written down for whatever reason. And he said on some show, I don't know what it was, he says, how do you keep an idiot in suspense? And then he said, say nothing. It was a note to himself. That's the joke. Don't say it because that's the joke. Don't say anything. But he said it out loud. He goes, how do you keep an idiot in suspense? Say nothing. I just heard about this the other day. I don't know what show it's at, but apparently it went down.
I don't even know that either. That's funny.
Good old Dice. I'll find that on the YouTubes one of these times, He does have
Are we fucking doing this?
Let's do it.
I sound like Christian. All right, let's start it off with Prom Night from 1980. Directed by Paul Lynch, at a high school senior prom, a mass killer stalks 4 teenagers who were responsible for the accidental death of a classmate 6 years previously.
Oh, hey. Paul Lynch. Have you ever seen Paul Lynch? He was in the documentary, right? The director. And he looks just like David Lynch. But I don't know if he's related. It's not on his trivia, but he's from London or something. But it's crazy.
I don't know, and I don't think I have seen him. But thank God you brought him up. Good God for fucking bed. Oh yeah, we don't talk about the director and other works because Jason Smith. I can't believe you didn't talk about the Raid 1 and 2 last month or last episode when we were doing Apostle. So Paul Lynch, he directed Humongous. He directed RoboCop 4. Yes,
Humongous. Is that the Junior story?
Yeah. Humongous, which I've got to watch again because I hate that fucking movie. It's one of those ones. It's like spookies for people. People are like, Humongous, day one buy if it came out in a new packaged Blu-ray. And I remember it being a honking piece of shit. And
it wasn't a honking piece of shit, but it's not
it's average. It's average.
It's fine.
So it's not humongous.
It's worth watching it. What's that, Marcus?
I said it's not humongous. It's just average.
Yeah, it's not exactly humongous. The final act is good. The lead girl is absolutely stunning. I think it's worth it to watch.
Are we talking about Prom Night or Humongous right now?
Well, speaking of Prom Night and stunning women, that's something else about this. They're
throughout the whole franchise. Yes.
Yes, franchise. Very attractive women throughout the whole franchise. Yeah.
You know what? People shit on this movie. They shit on it. There's fans, and then there's just as much detractors of this movie, of not just the franchise, of this film, because it's true. All the carnage really happens in that last half hour. And so it's an hour and a half movie, but for whatever reason, this works. Whereas I complained about an Intruder, where I felt like, come on, let's get on with it. But you've got the really gory kills. This one's more subdued. The kills are not super gory, save for that one surprise kill, which is great at the end. But the flow of it is much better. I like the flow of this movie.
Much better character development. Much better character development than Intruder. Very stylized. It has that washed out sort of like surreal type of feel.
Carrie Dream. The Carrie Dream sequence.
Very Carrie Dream-esque. And Carrie, is one of those films that it feels like it has its stamp on a bunch of these films. Yes. But also, at times, it's very colorful and the reds really pop. I don't want to get pretentious and start talking about colors, but it feels very Giallo-like at times. Also with the prank phone calls, the voices, the shadows, stuff like that. So it's a heavily stylized and surreal-like film, and I think it's great. I think if you want to complain about the lack of kills in the beginning, maybe the one thing they could have done to throw in an extra kill, they kind of wasted some of the red herrings they used. They wasted Mr. Sykes, the groundskeeper, just having him even set up in the first place. They didn't need him, or they could have used him as an early kill. And they kind of wasted Leslie Nielsen's character.
Well, he disappears, I think, to be the big red herring.
Yeah,
he's gone. But you're right. They should have opened up and he's dead or something like that. A reveal at the end.
Exactly.
Say, well, no, it's not him. Who the fuck can it be? That's the two missteps. Is you're right. They should have had an early kill, which would have been maybe the groundskeeper, but that might have been too much. But he was almost too crazy. Like it was a Scooby-Doo red herring, where it's like killing him off.
Even if you're watching this for the first time, this guy's not the killer. If this guy's
I don't know. See, hold on. Let me say this. I will agree on Leslie Nielsen, and there was a cut scene with Leslie Nielsen chopping wood.
Yes, that would have been great.
Yes, it would have been great. They showed on the documentary.
And there was a cut scene of him chopping broccoli Simpson.
Nice. And by the way, he also had the fart machine on this set that we heard about in Creepshow. So this dude carried around this fucking fart machine for years, apparently, fucking tormenting all of his co-stars. I think it's great. But anyway. Awesome. We talk about that. Now, you were saying, why did I jump in there? Because you said, okay, this is what it is about
early kill. Yeah.
Okay, this is not, I'm going to say a little bit like what I said about Ringu, okay, the original Asian Ring. That you have to put yourself in the time when it was made. And that's what I like about this film, that if you look at this film as something filmed in 1979, released in 1980, it was doing things that at the time people weren't doing. They weren't having those red herring type characters back in the night. They became a trope later on in slashers. So I think if you're watching this movie at that time, it's not so unbelievable that he could be a suspect. I like it. And this movie does things that, at the time are not tropes yet, and people don't want to give it props for that. And I'm not going to sit here and blow the movie for fucking half an hour. I'm not saying that, but I am going to say that they do the phone call thing, which is great. Granted, of course, we've seen Black Christmas and When a Stranger Calls, but it's done a little differently here. And then you have a secret at the beginning, which became another trope in slashers. Something terrible happens, let's cover it up and never speak of it. And, I don't think, again, I'm not saying that I'm the be-all, end-all of slasher knowledge. Of course I'm not. But to my recollection, I think this may have done this first, having that, that secret cover-up, because we've seen it so many times. Again, it's 1980. So I think if you look at this movie as something that came out in that time period, I don't think it's as obvious. I like that they had red herring.
I can give you that, but then at the same time, with 3 red herrings in this film between Sykes, Leslie Nielsen, and this Leonard Murch character, somebody has to appear dead or get killed.
I agree. Leslie Nielsen coming up dead would have been cool.
Yes. Everything's coming up dead lately. But that opening scene, I love that opening scene. I think it's a great sequence, and I think it's true to how children are, just relentless. The killers are coming, and then they will not stop chanting kill, and they're scaring the shit out of Robin, and it's true. Kids are fucking cruel as hell.
They're cruel, but it's funny, and I made this joke when I reviewed it back on the other show, and it still holds true. It's like she hits the fucking dirt, and the girl's like, "We're not speaking of this. We're covering this up right away." The girl, it's like, boom! No one's saw nothing. Let's get the fuck out of here.
You know what though? At least they stuck true to her character throughout. Wendy wasn't remorseful for one bit, not even 6 years later. The rest of them were very remorseful. Well, Kelly definitely was, and certainly Nick was, but maybe Jude also. You don't really get to know too much about her, but Wendy's just a complete fucking bitch. And there are just some people who are like that. So,
well, true. That you gotta wonder what happens because Nick is remorseful, but they're in love. But what happens next? Does he reveal, or does he just let the secret die now that the only witness is dead?
Honestly,
what are you talking about? There's who reveal?
Like Nick, he wanted to tell her the whole time.
Yeah.
And now
the truth is going to come out. The truth is going to come out. The whole point is like lives are destroyed at the end. This poor family is destroyed even further at the end. Yeah. And I think that's what makes it really good. It's kind of like a really tragic slasher. Because is Nick really dead at the end, or is he just sort of like unconscious?
Let's be honest. Leslie Nielsen can't be killed because he's the fucking dad, and Nick has nothing against the dad. So if it's revealed as Nick is the killer, he can't be killed. He is really just going after the people involved with the death. So we're thinking slasher film mentality, but when you actually think of from a story structure, he's literally targeting the people that wronged his family.
But they could have thrown in a few extra kills for satisfaction purposes, like that Drew character. That Drew character was a fucking prick. But then they go ahead and kill Slick instead.
Or practice kill. Well, that was a mistake. See, the one kill that is not Nick was an accident. It was the lights fucked him up. They're trying to do the old Carrie switcherino type thing or whatever. He's trying to go in and come out, make a big joke, and then that's when he thinks it's Nick and he chops his head off.
I'm talking about the guy in the truck who's having sex with Jude.
True. Yeah, they do kill him.
And you know what? And Slick is gonna make me say something that I always defend against Dave Z saying, and I'm finally going to say it, especially after seeing Slick's character. Fuck Shelley.
Thank you.
Slick is how Shelley should have been.
No shit. Yes, thank you.
Slick is like, I'm short, I'm fat, I fucking love you, girl, let's go fucking bang. Yeah. He pulls a hot chick and he just fucking bang, and Shelley's like, I'm insecure, nobody, fuck you, Shelley.
Thank you.
I'm with you now. I'm finally
fucking
with you.
Charlie Brown. Yes.
It took Slick for me to realize it, because I'm watching, I'm like, this is fucking Shelley, but this is cool fucking Shelley.
You're right. That is a cool version of Shelley. You're right. See, same fucking thing.
He pulls up in they must have known each other. He didn't just pull up in that van.
They even said it. They met that day. They were ranting. They were fucking raving about it later on at night. I can't believe I didn't know you until this morning. And then the kid
pulls up in a murder van and
yeah.
Scores.
Yeah, but then he's in the cafeteria with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's fun. The conversations, Dave, you've always said this. Sometimes I've agreed with you, sometimes I haven't. But the conversations and interactions with this group of people are interesting and work and build. Yes, there's no death. There's no kill other than the opening scene until the hour and change mark. Everything happens from a slasher standpoint in that last half hour. But as B mentioned, that Giallo-esque opening with the phone is top fucking notch, with the voice and the hand and everything like that, and the shadow. Great. The only thing is they do show Nick go into the school as a school day. And remember, this is all happening the same day. They wake up, it's prom morning, and that night is the prom night. And everything's happening in this one duration of a day. And he walks into that school and just, starts making crank calls in the school? Because he's at school at that point.
Went into the office. He has access to it.
Yeah. That was the only thing. I'm like, okay, I can explain it, but it is weird. Like, he goes into the...
That's the good point of having Leslie Nielsen being the father and the principal.
True.
I thought it was. I was confused at first at the beginning when Leslie Nielsen's up where Robin was killed, and you're hearing the voiceover of the detective. I'm like, why is Leslie Nielsen investigating his own daughter's murder? But I realized it's Nick's father doing that voiceover.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's Nick's father who's the detective, and that's.
I still thought that was in Leslie Nielsen's mind, though.
It is, but he's listening to what Nick's father's saying to him.
Oh, okay. I just thought he was thinking this. Oh, I never thought about that.
Yeah, no, because I'm saying, why is Leslie Nielsen going through the case like he's a detective here? Then I realized he's listening to what Nick's father was saying about the case, and it must have been, we know who it is. It must have been an escaped pervert and whatnot.
Okay, so check it out. I figured this out. What you were saying before about kids being relentless, the reason they were that way with her. And I like the way they play, and I understand why, because later on it makes sense for the plot. But these two twins, the younger brother and sister, they are younger. They are a year younger.
A year younger, yeah.
And that's why he specifically says they don't want to play with you, just like they wouldn't want to play with me. Because, sometimes at that age, some kids are like that. You know what I mean? This is our group. We don't want to play with you younger kids. So I think that's why that all went down. Simply because she was younger. They fucked with her. They didn't want her in their game. And of course, it was an accident. But that's what I think it goes back to. So I don't think they were tormenting her just to be mean. I just think it was like, well, you weren't invited to this game.
Yeah, so their intention wasn't to murder. Their intention was
I know.
I totally agree. But I just that my only quibble again is that lack of sort of playing out with some of the characters. Even the detectives, they have Nick's father is the main detective. They have that Dr. Fairchild character comes in, almost feels like he's a Loomis. Feels very much like Halloween at times, and this also.
It's thrown in after, by the way. That whole fucking angle came in at the end after the fucking shit was filmed. They threw in the fucking thing about the escaped fucking lunatic. Yeah. They could have completely gone without it. Would it have improved the movie or made it worse? I don't know. But I didn't know this. I just read this a fucking hour ago. So, yeah. But I was like, I don't know what.
You know what? It's weird. I don't know if it would. It could have gone either way. I don't think it hurts the film. I just think with it in there, you needed to develop it more and have an extra kill or two in the middle there. Just not for the sake of making it a better slasher, because I still love it. Just for the sake of completing that storyline. Rather than have them find Murch, kind of off screen 50 miles away. He could have actually shown up and started killing people, and they catch him, and he says, I didn't kill. I didn't kill, to reveal, right. He killed these people, but there's two killers. Exactly.
It's funny like because I just had a discussion after watching it. I was talking with a buddy online, and I was just saying, the one thing I thought was a little weird was the wedged in factor of this escape killer, not realizing maybe I did read this, Dave, back in, and subconsciously I remembered it, but now that you've said it, it makes sense because it does feel kind of wedged in. But he explained, he's like, no, because that gives an extra added amount of tension. It gives him a reason for Nick's dad to be at the prom there and everything else. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? You're right. I can buy it. It works. But the movie would have been really short because I think that at least takes 10 minutes of screen time between the interactions.
Yeah, that's a good 10, 15 minutes there in like the middle of the end of the first act sort of area.
Well, maybe they could have done more better slashery stuff with it. Maybe they could have had another chase scene or an earlier kill or some of the development that Brandon's talking about. Yeah. That he.
I love how Nick's dad's like, now we can relax and enjoy the prom. Murch has been caught. He's like, let's go dance.
I gotta tell you, this deserves a remake and a true remake, because you said you haven't seen the 2008, but if you watched it, you'd be like, what? It's like April Fool's Day remake.
From what I remember, call this a remake?
You can't call it. Don't call it a remake.
I haven't watched either of those.
I haven't seen a lot of the remakes, especially those mid 2000s, late 2000s that are sort of uninspired. Not because I think I'll hate them, just because they're just not going to live up to the original.
Or you heard they were uninspired. So, like, for instance, I watched. I went on When a Stranger Calls. I watched the original and the remake of that, and the remake, of course. The twist, but what they did is they did what I thought was good about the original. They took that opening scene and made it the whole fucking movie.
Good. That's what they should have done.
I saw the remake. I saw the remake of that in theaters, but I mean, this. I'm a lover of the original.
Yes.
So I didn't hate the remake though.
Yeah.
But I'm a lover of the original.
Don't get me wrong. It's not at the same level, but it's good. And the Prom Night remake, I had it a 1 out of 10. And I rewatched it and I said, okay, I was a little harsh.
Wow.
Or 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5. Sorry. So 2 out of 10. I said, if I had to be honest here, it still fails. It still fails, but it's definitely not as bad as I upped it to about a 4 out of 10. I'm not saying it's by any means great, but there's at least some decent parts to it. The characters are actually somewhat likable. They didn't make them all assholes, which you would have expected maybe at this time frame. So I don't know.
And I really like the relationship between Alex and Kim in this. He's a good brother.
Oh,
and she's a good sister. That's a good relationship. I mean, he fights for her. He stands up for her. I do like the line where he says, "I smell like the ladies' room." It's a hint right there because he was just in the ladies' room breaking the mirror.
Thank you. I wrote that down. I was like, he would know. Yes.
Yeah. I was like, that's a cool little clue right there because he was in there. And the mother, she's missing her lipstick because Alex took it because he's wearing it.
Oh, wow.
Because at the end when he pulls off his mask, he's got the lipstick on. She was looking for her lipstick the whole day.
You're right. My question is this: C, do you know who that woman is? The one the mother, Leslie Nielsen's wife. Apparently, she was big in fucking Canadian television shows. She was a
no. I mean,
it'll
be interesting. Okay. I can look her up, but no, off the top, no, I don't recall.
And did you know that Jamie Lee Curtis was almost like a last minute here? And you know who the original person to play that part was supposed to be? And it would have been fucking. I wish I got it. What happened? It was originally going to be Eve Plum. You know who Eve Plum is, right?
No.
Oh no. Okay, Jan Brady.
Really?
Jan fucking Brady was gonna be. I wish she would have got the role just because, not for this movie at all, but if she could have got into horror and then this would have been a success, she could have gone on to some other movies as the fucking heel, and we could actually finally see Jan Brady flipping out, like you know how they made her crazy in the movies, Marsha, and they made her all fucking. That would have been great if they could have turned her character into that. But no, JLC fucking intervened. Her people talked to them. They said they want her, and apparently the guy, the director or the producer, I forgot which one, was talking to Erwin Yablans about doing this after the 6th of Halloween, and he said, hey, well, you should do it after a holiday. You know, that'll be good. Same thing he said for Halloween. You know what I mean? Because he encouraged him, Carpenter, to make it a movie about Halloween. And the guy didn't know what he wanted to do, and then he saw something somewhere, and it said something about a prom night. And he goes, well, not necessarily a holiday. He goes, what do you think about prom night? And that's how it took off. Anyway, I didn't mean to sidetrack, but the Eve Plum thing just popped into my head. And then JLC came aboard, and the director was all excited about it. He's like, hey, listen, Jamie Lee Curtis wants to get involved here. And the guy was like, well, I guess that'd be good. You don't understand. She's from Halloween. It's going to bring fucking people to the theater. And they brought her in, and I guess she came in and just fucking kicked ass. She took fucking dancing lessons. She did all this fucking shit. She really wanted the role. Isn't that something?
Dancing's fantastic also.
Yeah, I love it.
Very much more upbeat, a much more upbeat Carrie scene.
Well, that's it.
Even with the spinning, it's like it's very symbolic of her world about to be spinning out of control because I mean it's a tragic figure, this Kim character, because at the end of the movie, I mean her parents are going to be destroyed. Now 2 children lost. She's lost her sibling. She's going to lose her boyfriend because he's definitely going to speak the truth as to what happened. Like her life is ruined. So it's very, very much in the vein of Carrie.
It's Carrie meets Black Christmas without the telekinesis part, just the prom part with these kind of slasher whodunit. Because let's face it, we could say it's like Halloween, but Halloween, we know who the killer is right from the get-go. Whereas in Black Christmas, they keep that kind of mystique of who's Billy. So it's kind of a merging of those two.
Wow, and it's her brother in both movies. Wow. Maybe not when they made Halloween 1, but holy shit. Do you think there was a nod to fucking Halloween? There was a couple things I noticed. There was the one scene when the girl was walking across the fucking in the street. It was
absolute direct nod. I know exactly what scene you're talking. It looked exactly like it. Yeah. It
was Wendy coming out of the house. Yeah, totally. And then at one point, someone says something to her, to Jamie Lee Curtis, and she says, as a matter of fact, I was. And because they were talking about, were you practicing for the remember when Wendy confronts her? And she goes, as a matter of fact, I'm like, do you think that they wrote that because of Loomis? As a matter of fact, it was, you know? I don't know. Maybe it's just a Halloween fanboy in me wanting everything to be a fucking, a reference to Halloween, but I don't know.
Who knows? But they did a good job with that Wendy character, like her bitchiness and the fact that she's like a tortured in a sense too. She wants Nick. Like, there's a tortured part of her, too. She wants Nick that she lowers herself to go out with Lou the asshole.
Lou the asshole. Lou?
Yeah, that's a Carrie scene 100%. Yeah, everything Lou, about that.
Yeah. They should have gotten John Travolta instead of Lou.
Oh, he's perfect. He looked like he had the one continuous eyebrow.
No, but Wendy, her character development, she's unchanged 6 years later. She's still a fucking bitch though, and her chase scene at the end is a great chase scene. I just wish her kill wasn't a cutaway.
It's the only real chase scene we get.
And it's great. It's suspenseful. It's long, but it needed a better payoff. I mean, Kelly's throat slit. Jude's kill has almost like a Friday the 13th with the back of the van opening up and getting stabbed in the eyes. But
I'm gonna remember this night for the rest of my life. For about 3 seconds, I love it.
It's great. And poor Slick. I mean, I don't know. This was the trope, I guess, of the time. Anytime somebody drives off a cliff, they go like this.
Yeah,
what the fuck?
Intimate death. They're prepping themselves for intimate death, and then the van explodes on impact.
Yeah, they don't make them like they do now. You could survive going off a cliff now.
Yeah.
Back then, if you came to a screeching halt and tapped somebody's rear bumper, both cars exploded.
Are you kidding? Now you do it, and Van Diesel just rolls out of the driver's seat and then starts running and chasing like a freight train.
Or Van Diesel.
Whoever the fuck. The most overrated actor in working today. That one.
I didn't know anybody liked him. I didn't know that.
Well, I don't think he's known for acting skills.
I'm giving it to Dave Z. Aww.
Fuck Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
Christ. I didn't even know what I was thinking about. The guy.
Well, at least they were stoned when they got killed.
Who was stoned?
Yeah, that joint stash. Slick and Jude.
Yeah, they were high. How about that? The one girl dies a virgin before the days of the tropes where you fuck. I felt so bad. Yeah, she could have put out and had at least had sex before she died.
That's why they should have killed Drew. He was such a prick. They should have killed him.
You know what? They should have killed him. But who knew? Who knew? Who knew that you could just go and sniff a girl's hair and that would allow you to go walk off with her and lead to certain things later on in the night.
Oh, what, the girl by the punch bowl right when he goes back into the... Yeah.
And she's like, like, that's creepy.
Try it, B. Next time you're at the post office or something.
B, don't. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. At the post office. Sniffing girl's hair hasn't aged well. Yeah.
Is that a good place to pick up women, at the post office?
Yeah, at the laundry.
Well, it's a place where you're in line. I'm picturing the line.
I'm about to get arrested for sniffing people at the post office.
Like Jeepers Creepers.
It's okay, you're wearing a mask now.
Hold the mask down. Do everything wrong to get in trouble.
Sound all nasally and congested.
You smell pretty.
I have 2 questions. They're kind of a complaint. They're kind of question. Maybe you guys know. Number 1. Well, this is just my dumbass probably. Where did the kid get the mask? Remember, he's pranking him later and he's kissing JLC, and then fucking the brother saves him. Wasn't the brother already using that mask when he killed people, or where did that mask come from?
It went into the garbage, and that's why the dad's a suspect again too. He throws it into the trash. They should have showed a better shot of that, and whatever, or even closed up on the mask or something. I think it would have just been even given a little bit more suspect to the dad. So it ends in the office. He throws it in the trash, and they're gone. And then
that's where it
was discovered. Yeah, it comes from the trash because he throws it right after he says to him, "You think I'm going to play favorites because he's my son?" You're absolutely right. I love that line.
I love great line.
Yeah.
Great line.
I love that. You've been a disgrace to this school. You're suspended.
That guy, he would get more than just expelled or suspended. The cops would be involved. He started kissing, even through a mask. Though he started grabbing and kissing. I know it was 1980.
Well, not only is he sexually assaulting her, but he's also like 50 years old. It's like, this guy's 17. Get the fuck out of here.
Well, nobody saw that either, though. I mean, the boy saw it, but Leslie Nielsen didn't see it.
Dude, how strong was Alex, though? The one kid he chunks across the table. I love that.
He's got that crazy strength. He's got that pent up fucking shit because his twin was murdered.
You can't say that.
He's got that fucking freaking.
I know. We know.
I know. And then at the end of the movie, I won't say it. At the end of the movie, and maybe you guys, again, this may be very easily explained, but I was a little perplexed as I'm watching. You know, when they're getting them both ready to come out for the thing at the end, and he gets the crown and she gets the crown. Who is that guy that they show creeping up behind fucking Jamie Lee Curtis in the back when she has behind the ladder. Is that one of the henchmen?
That's one of Lou's other two thugs. Yeah.
Okay, it seemed out of place to me. Like it wasn't telegraphed. All of a sudden, this kid pops up, and I'm thinking, is that the brother? Is that the killer? I'm thinking, why would he be wearing those clothes?
Yeah. No, because
why fucking is the other guy getting killed at the same time? Nothing became of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know, because they weren't supposed to grab her, so I don't know why he was like sneaking up on her. You're right, because at first they snuck up and grabbed Nick, and obviously switched the old tuck switcheroony, but then he's just standing there lurking in the back watching her. Maybe he just wants a better spot to watch, her face when they come out. Like, oh, maybe she won't know it's Lou, and they'll end up together.
And what's the end goal there? He's just like, I'm king of the prom. And they're like, okay, now get the fuck off the stage.
You know what, though?
Right? That's
the end game. That, at least that feels more true to, like, a high school prank other than, like, Carrie, where you got 17-year-olds slaughtering animals and, even though Carrie's a way better film, I'm just saying.
Well, the difference is this. The girl in Carrie, and boy, and anyway, she's great. She actually gave the guy a blowjob to go fucking do the job. I don't think Wendy did anything with this guy. Maybe if she would have given him
a
burger.
Bought him 2 burgers, actually.
Bought him a couple burgers, you're right. And then disappeared when it came time to do the fucking stunt. Yeah. And she didn't like him. Where the other girl, Chris Hargensen was fucking, she liked him and she was blowing him and this and that and seducing him. The other guy just, I don't know. It didn't even seem like he was all that interested in her. He was just kind of like happy to be hanging around.
He wasn't interested in her. She wasn't interested in him. They were just sort of using each other. Yeah.
Well, what did he get out of it? Do you think he wanted to go to the prom with that fucking guy?
He's just.
What did he get out of it? It didn't seem like there was anything sexual even happening there. Like it was a date. You know what I mean? It was just weird. There should have been like.
They should have added something there. You're right. Just some
blowjob would have been nice.
No, doesn't he make a line? Doesn't he make a statement at some point where he says, "Oh, if it's not Wendy, I'll end up with Kim." Then he's
Wendy's just using it as a way to get them together so that he can finally be Kim's king.
I mean, his end game is getting with someone, but I think he just doesn't care who it's with.
True, it's prom night. He just wants to fuck anybody.
Yeah.
Who could blame him? No, that's fine.
There was a scene where I think in the car he's like, "Hail to the king, baby."
Dave, you haven't brought up your comedy yet. There's a scene in this movie that has Dave Z comedy written all over it, and I didn't bring it up yet because I figured you were gonna bring it up.
Let's see. Asshole move. I'll tell you one thing. I don't know about comedy yet, but there was an asshole move because he wants to fuck this girl. Where the hell was he trying to have sex with her? It was what a strange.
The locker room.
Yeah, like a virgin's gonna get fucked in the locker room for her first time. That's a move for a fucking not a slut, but a woman that's been around a little bit. You know what I mean?
It's not you have to dance around your words like you're like prom night dancing around your words. A slut. I mean, not a loosen the woofer. What do I say nowadays? I don't know. Oh fuck.
I don't even know why. Our listeners don't give a shit. But
yeah.
I know.
That's why he needed to die. He should have been a really gory kill.
And how hot is Vicky? Wow, that girl, that blonde girl. Mamma mia. I'm gonna say that as long as I'm being incorrect. Whew. Anyway,
Vicky.
I'm looking.
That's part 2.
Yeah.
No, Vicky, the blonde girl in part 1 that wasn't in the beginning, the real pretty blonde girl in this movie. Her name is Vicky.
The friend, the one friend who's not guilty, who's in it for like 13 seconds. Oh, okay.
She's in it for more than 13 seconds, buddy. Her ass is there for about fucking 5 seconds at one point.
I thought you were talking about Vicky, the actual blonde, who's the star of part 2.
No. Kelly dies a virgin. POV. Rest of my life. Kelly who?
You missed it. You missed it.
What's the comedy? I want to know.
There's a question. Did the killer lock the door?
Yeah, he has access to the keys. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I thought maybe the school could have done that because they only want. Sometimes at schools for events, they only want you going in and out of certain.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they did. They cornered off like the school. That's what makes this so cool. Like the chase scene happens in the part of the school that's supposedly not supposed to be accessible during prom. So it works. And what I love about it is you can hear the prom happening in the background while they're being stalked and chased by the killer. And it makes it that much creepier because I'm like literally feet away from friends and safety, and yet I'm getting killed.
But Dave's saying because he thinks like you probably thought like Wendy's running one direction, why can't you get back? It's chained up, it's locked up. Like completely, Alex could have access to that stuff. I mean, again, making that the principal. I was just questioning it. Yeah, no, either way, I think it works. Whether he locked it up or you know or not. But Mr. Weller,
comedy.
Mr. Weller, the comedy. When the head comes out, don't panic.
Yes,
don't panic. It's like this is AC comedy. The head's rolling, kids are flipping out, running down screen, and he's like, "Don't panic."
Son of a bitch! When I watched the documentary this morning, I noticed it, but I didn't notice it when I watched it, and I made a mental note, but I should have wrote it. Oh, you're right though. Don't panic.
His face is great though when he realizes what's happening. Well, because it is a quick reaction. Like, I mean, a head comes tumbling down. I don't think your first thing is someone just got decapitated, necessarily. It has to sink in. Like, their reaction is
What do you think? His head accidentally fell off? What do you mean? What do you mean?
They see the decapitation. They just see this thing go boop, 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 boop in strobe lights. They haven't even had time to adjust to anything yet.
A bloody head rolls onto the stage. The only thing I'm thinking is decapitation. That's really the only way to lose your head. I've never heard of somebody's head falling off by accident.
Let's not lose our heads here, you know?
And they don't know what the hell's going on. I'm saying they don't even know it's real yet.
Don't panic is funny because the only thing really that you should be doing in that moment is panicking and getting the fuck out of there.
That's one of the few times in life panic is the correct response.
But it is a decent decapitation.
Fuck out.
You can't panic.
I'm getting back to the decapitation. It is good. It's good. It's really the only gory part in the movie. Like, the slit throat is really not that gory. This is probably the goriest kill.
The slit throat is stylized, though. It's shot very cool. But, this is the only gory part. Jude's kill feels like it's gory, even though you don't see much. But you're right. The decapitation is really the only gore.
And that's what people seem to want. They wanted more gory kills, which is why I think that they could remake this one properly and not soup it up like the 2008 remake, which is done at it's at a venue and whatever. Keep it at a school. Keep it a small town prom. There's so much you could do with it, and I think there's movie 11 for us. We'll call it.
I want a movie. Let's do it. Yeah.
11.
Formal
Let's do
night.
it. My bloody prom.
Semi-formal night.
Semi-formal. The Christmas dance or the Winterfest. Yeah. That fucking shit. And it could be set in the winter. We get blood on the snow. Fuck never hike in the snow. We'll have a slasher in the fucking snow. The Winterfest fucking senior year. Whatever the fuck that shit's called.
My bloody black Halloween semi-formal.
70 formal, you said?
Semi-formal.
Oh, they said 70. 70 formal. How about one about old people? That'd be cool. A slasher that only happens at a fucking for
retirement
senior
home?
citizens.
Yeah.
Senior, yes, a retirement home fucking dance, and a guy, instead of waiting 10 or 20 years to get revenge for something that happened when they were kids, waits
70 years.
60 years. Yes.
No, 70 years, and the weapon is his walker.
His wife dies.
His walker. He picks up his walker, and it has blades that shoot out the bottom.
It could be great. His wife passes away, and all these years she's kept him at bay, or maybe he couldn't kill because of her. Maybe her brother was the fucking the main culprit that pranked him or whatever, so he had to be killed. So to spare her feelings, he didn't do it. So he waited, and then when she passed on, that's when he finally was able to fucking commit these fucking
She was his rock, so like she kept him at bay. Now she's dead.
Yes, I'm telling you, no one's thought about it. The thing is, I think if somebody made that, because it's fucking senior citizens, it would be a horror comedy. But I would like it to be done in a serious tone. I think that'd be fucking great. And imagine that reveal. Just imagine watching senior citizens get fucking slashed by pitchforks and fucking...
The Alzheimer's massacre. At the Alzheimer's massacre, when the killer is revealed at the end, he doesn't even know he's the killer.
And the amount of nudity in this movie will be fucking epic. He'll just open up with her in the shower. You know, like, balls down to the fucking ground, like dragging across the ground.
And titties on top of the balls. Yeah. Sagging titties right on top of the sagging balls. You can't show that!
He's tripping over his own balls for the final chase. It'll be fantastic.
Good work. Good work.
How about caught the killer? Wait, I'm the killer?
Yeah, he's senile. He doesn't even know he's the killer.
Yeah, that's the reveal. That would be the horror comedy aspect of it. Then it surely could work there. Wait a minute.
It's horrible though, because I don't like the idea. That I don't like that Alzheimer's and thinking of that makes me sad. But anyway, also we got Enchantment Under the Sea of Death. That could be the title of the movie.
Wow. Holy fuck. That's great. Yes. Enchantment Under the Sea. Yeah, man. So why not a prom night movie done like My Bloody Valentine? Because they are kind of similar.
Who has proms in a mind?
Yeah. My Bloody Valentine is done so much better than Prom Night. That's all I'm gonna say.
We should just do a total mashup. Like do prom, like they have a prom at the mine. It's a small town.
That's why I was making fun of the name, saying My Bloody Black Halloween Prom. Like a spoof, But
play it straight is where I'm going with it. Like Dave would say, like.
Have you ever done that before?
Always play it straight. I mean, it's a horror movie. Let's play it fucking straight. But that's what I'm saying. Have Prom Night be a remake of that, more like a My Bloody Valentine, where there's more kills throughout. Random people can be killed. I mean, the kid had a revenge idea in My Bloody Valentine, but other people still got killed for no reason. You know what I mean? The fucking lady in the laundromat, the fucking the red herring guy got killed. People got killed. Make it so the guy really becomes unhinged. And yes, he does commit revenge, but he can kill a couple fucking stragglers throughout the film too. Just for, I don't know, wrong place at the wrong time.
Shits and giggles.
Now, just one last question about original Prom Night is, in the opening scene, is Robin wearing a girl's turtleneck or a boy's turtleneck, or is Alex wearing a girl's turtleneck?
You
can't say that.
Unisex.
Metrosexuals.
That's how he should have been revealed as the killer. He should have been wearing that really tight turtleneck, and it should have been like cut off right at his midriff right here.
It'd be like a dickie now.
It should have been revealed. Should have been revealed like Sleepaway Camp. It's like really he's like it's she, and she's been brought up as a girl.
Yeah, he's Robin, and Alex was killed. Yeah.
If they didn't focus on the shot so much at the beginning,
and then Jamie Lee pulls her pants down and shows her penis.
Maybe they fucked him up. Maybe they dressed up the girl like a boy and the boy like a girl, and they fucked both their kids up, and the parents were just that demented. So when the girl died, everybody thought the girl died, but actually the boy died.
Well, he wanted to be like her. He was wearing the lipstick at the end to sort of be like her.
And then how come he never got laid? He never did anything. At the end, he can reveal a vagina.
Dude, yeah. What's it called? Jamie Lee even says that Jude will go out with you.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, that was also like Halloween. She was trying to set somebody else up to have a date, just like they were trying to do with her character in Halloween, remember? She was shy and everything else. They're trying to hook her up with fucking Ben Tramer. Did they do that on purpose? Maybe. And have her be the fucking one on the other side trying to set him up? I don't know.
Maybe.
My Bloody Sleepaway Prom. There it is. My Bloody Sleepaway Prom.
Terrible.
Okay. It could be at a sleepaway camp.
Terrible.
Well, why not? Have it be a camp in the summertime, and at the end of the summertime, they have like a prom. You know what I mean? They have one final party before everybody goes away, so that could be like a prom. They could just call it the summer prom. You know what I mean? And then it's bloody, so why not? My Bloody Sleepaway Prom. I don't know. Oh. I don't know. Listen, it's a good fucking movie. It's like I said before. The dialogue, there's another movie that's in this series, and I'm not going to say which one it is yet, where there is a lot of dialogue and a lot of downtime, but you're just not invested in the characters and what they're talking about the way you are here. They got the love triangle, they got different things going on, and it's just done better. That's why some slashers you could have no kills for an hour, but as long as you're on board with what's happening, it's fine. And yes, there was a point where I paused it and I said there hasn't been a kill yet. How far away into it? And it was 56 minutes. But I was just curious for the sake of the podcast. I wasn't like, oh man, where the fuck? You know what I mean? So you had build up. You had the phone calls.
It was one kill.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. It was one kill. 2, actually, the nurse that they find. There's 8 kills in this movie, actually. 8 total. And the guy that played the killer still has the mask all these years. And he it was in his basement, and his kids knew about it. And then when his kids have a prom, the fucking kids want to wear the mask, and he goes to the prom and wears the mask. How about that shit?
and actually kills some people?
Yeah. With shards of glass.
Yeah. With shards of glass.
Well, this was my number 2 slasher when we did the show. And I gave it an 8 out of 10. It was my number 2 slasher. 22.
No, it wasn't.
22.
My number 2 slasher. What the fuck?
Number 22 slasher, I gave it an 8 out of 10, and I stand by that rating.
All right. I don't know what I gave it when we did the show. I forgot, but I'm giving it a 7.5 now.
Yeah, I don't know what I gave it, where it stood, but 8 out of 10.
Nice. Prom night. Yeah. I don't know why people hate it. Maybe because they like other ones more, or maybe because people that like this movie really like it and they're expecting it. I don't know.
This is what separates the fans of Mad Men and Prom Night. There's those fans of Final Exam and Mad Men, which I don't like.
I like both of those.
I don't really like those.
Mad Men is different than this.
John Hamm is great in Mad Men.
Final Exam is closer to this than Mad Men.
Christian, did you at least get it, or
yes,
just chose not to acknowledge it?
Crack that joke every time Mad Men's brought up.
Matter of fact, Wazell cracked that same joke on Banana Laser episode 3, and that's how many times I've heard it.
But he retired from podcasting like 9 years ago.
And I retired from fantasy football, yet I still had a draft last night.
God have mercy on Francesca's soul.
Wow, I'm not playing. I I do nothing. That's how the question was asked. Yeah. I do nothing. I want no part of the money. I want nothing. He says, if we win, I'll take you out to dinner. And I go, it's not we. If you win, that's fine. Take me out to dinner. That's your choice, Back to that.
Anyway,
so that's prom.
That is Prom Night.
Canadian slasher. Oh, you know what they said? That they went out to fucking Eaton's because it was filmed in Toronto. And they said that one day they went out and Jamie Lee bought a bra and she was showing it off to her little her brother. She goes, little brother, what do you think I should do? And she was kind of like playfully flirting with him just to like loosen him up and shit. And everyone had nothing but great things to say about Jamie Lee and how she was on the set. So that's pretty cool. But they mentioned that they went to Eaton's, and then I thought about all those fucking Canadian songs, at the Eaton Center,
I'm hungry. I'd like to go out to Eaton.
They have food there too. They used to say all the things you can eat at the Eaton Center. No, I don't think that
the Eaton Center's still around. It's right downtown Toronto.
Sounds
awful. Do they serve food there still?
They serve, yeah. It's like a mall. It's a mall.
Yeah.
Does it have its own choir?
It says "Fuck America."
Mr. Eaton's.
The Eaton Center Choir. Here they are, and they're gonna come out. Oh, that's the way. Crunch, 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 crunch. We like it. Okay, let's do Prom Night 2.
Prom Night 2. Hello, Mary Lou. Directed by Bruce Pittman. This is 1987, 30 years after her accidental death at her 1957 senior prom. The tortured spirit of prom queen Mary Lou Maloney returns to seek revenge.
Okay, let me say something right now about Prom Night 2. I don't know why some people choose to say that this. I don't get. This movie is kind of on a pedestal, and I just do not see it being significantly better than any of the other sequels. I'm just leading off with that.
Dude, I totally agree. For whatever reason, I gave this a 7 out of 10 the last time when we did it on the Slasher show, and I didn't put it on my list because something just doesn't sit right. This movie's okay. It's good-ish in parts. I don't see the love for it. I think it's only all right, and it's not significantly less silly than part 3. It's slightly less silly, but it's still wacky.
It's wacky because it's completely different. We're taking it into supernatural realm here, but I admire it, and I think it's on a pedestal because of its ambitiousness, especially with some of the effects. Very Nightmare on Elm Street here.
Well, that's
very Nightmare on Elm Street here, and some really cool, creepy imagery here. When we're talking about drifting in and out of Vicky's reality into Mary Lou's sort of nightmarish, hellish prom world. And the chalkboard scene is really cool. There's some cool stuff.
Yep.
I think the character development in this one is okay. These characters are nowhere near as likable as part 1, but they're good enough. We haven't gone completely bonkers like we will in part 3, where it's really part 3 is more of just a spoof movie.
Yeah, I think
it's the soundtrack. Right. The soundtrack part 3 is what makes it silly. They make all these choices to do things with you guys know what I'm talking about. They do it's almost like they did with Halloween 5 with the fucking with the cops and the show. There was a couple instances where they did things like that in Prom Night 3 that they didn't do here. But aside from that, I'm with what Christian said. I don't think that part 3 is silly as I was recalling. Part 2 has some silliness to it, and I'm fine, and I get it, and I love the chalkboard scene. I love some other things. I dig the what's going on. It's almost like a Nightmare on Elm Street 2, if you think about it.
I think part 3 is Nightmare on Elm Street 2. This one feels more
possession. No.
Yes, but part 3 has the gay love interest with Shane, who's clearly in love with.
I did think about that, but we'll get to it.
That's part 2.
I'm not thinking the gay thing. I'm thinking the possession angle. What happens in part 1 is one thing, and then what happens in part 2 is something completely different. Where in part 2 we have a possession. My problem with this movie is I have too many questions. It's almost like not as ridiculous as Nightmare 4, but I just have questions that I don't understand why things are the way they are. Like, if she burned up in a fire, why are her clothes stashed away in a fucking attic? Did you wear them? Did you not wear them?
It's not her clothes. She never wore them. It's the it's the crown and the cape that she was supposed to wear.
She wore the fucking crown and the cape. She was on stage with them on, and they literally said that she wore these clothes. What's her name said?
When she was burning up, she wasn't wearing the cape. I don't think.
I thought she had the cape and the crown. She definitely had the crown.
And again, I don't think it's one of those things.
The crown fell off.
I don't think they were thinking about this. I think, again, these are questions. You're not going to get answers because I don't think they were looking to do it. It's a silly possession Nightmare on Elm Street ripoff movie. That's what this is. And I don't like the pacing of this film. I think it starts innocently enough, and I think it ends all right. But I think the middle part is really boring.
Amen. Yes, 100%. The middle part is boring.
I drift off. I just kind of lose interest in the middle, and then it kind of brings you back in for the end. Again, the cast is attractive. There's a couple of decent gags. Her smooching with her dad is sickly funny.
And again, the very religious mom, very Carrie-esque.
Correct. And the house is very Carrie. You know what the house looks like with the white picket fence? It looks like Sue Snell's house at the end of part 1. I was like, what the fuck? It looks just like it. And it almost was filmed almost with that dreamy look to it. I was like, look at this. They have to be doing that intentionally. Which was cool.
I like the setup with it, with Mary Lou, with the burning, the accidental death. I like how he grows out to be the principal. Buddy Cooper, grows up to be the priest. It's really well done. So again, now we got Craig's character, whose father's the principal in this one. Craig, of course, Art Blank from Saw 4 that Christian pointed out.
So
you got him and Vicky. Yeah, him and Vicky.
That's what I was telling you.
Art Blank.
The guy that's in the beginning opening scene that ends up being like the mastermind, or he's been.
You were being tested by Jigsaw. You were supposed to follow the rules, asshole. Yeah. And then Briggs shoots him in the head.
So it's the priest is Art Blank or no?
No, the kid's Art Blank.
The kid is Art Blank, so he's a child in this movie, and then he grows up.
He's like 20 in this.
20. Oh, okay, so he was okay. Forget it. Here's what I don't get. Hold on. Here's what I don't get. How come this guy is blamed for being the murderer when he wasn't. The person that really murdered was the fucking asshole. We never know what happens to him. The guy that throws the stink bomb on there. This guy's riddled with guilt as if he did something. Nobody did anything wrong except the kid that threw the fucking stink bomb that accidentally landed in the fucking girl's thing.
They're both riddled with guilt.
Yeah, but they didn't do anything. That makes no fucking sense. Why was he? Go ahead.
He didn't attempt to help her. And he starts
fucking on fire. What are you gonna do?
He didn't attempt to help her at all, and then he's just banging on the couch there, like sort of like regretting, like I didn't help her, and he becomes the principal, the one who threw the firecracker. Yeah, it was all an accident. I mean, it wasn't like they.
It's your high school sweetheart too, and not even like they really weren't getting along. So like, do you really care? Wasn't she cheating on him?
I'm confused. She spurned the one guy and ran off with the other guy. Okay.
Yeah.
And the one guy him suffering, and I thought the kid that did the stink bomb had nothing to do with any of that shit. He just happened to be a kid that threw a stink bomb.
No, he's the principal. He's Michael Ironside. He's the principal. He's Billy Nordham. He's Craig's father.
He was the one that she spurned, that she went to the dance with and fucking threw him off?
Yeah, that's why the story makes perfect sense. That's why she's after Craig. She wants revenge.
I thought that was just happenstance. I thought that he was still there and he was upset and he was fucking at the...
No, I think you guys should give this film a little bit more credit.
Well, no, that was a complaint. There was a little bit.
Doesn't make the movie better, but I got that aspect of it. I don't have the questions Dave had, but it doesn't make the movie better for me. That's just the story script. I like Michael Ironside. I like everybody. The performances are decent enough in this. I actually think if I'm going to give a little bit more credit to part 3, is I think. The Mary Lou in part 3 is sexier and hotter than the Mary Lou in part 2.
Yes, she is. Mamma mia. And it took me a minute or two to notice, because at first I wasn't sure. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Yes, she is.
I like the kills in this
shit
one.
On her face.
Which one?
The kills?
In part 3?
Yeah. The first, yeah.
Part 3, Mary, they're different looking. This Mary Lou has much more of a 1950s feel to it. They really did a good job of casting her, making her look real 50-ish. Whereas part 3, sure. I enjoyed part 3. I'll just say that right now. I enjoyed all. I'm not gonna say all 4. All 4. I enjoyed all 4, but part 3 is just. Part 3 might as well have been like a student body's pandemonium, which are films I like, but that's what that's like. This one's still trying to be a serious film, even though it's supernatural and does have some comedic elements to it. I don't think they're intentional here. I think because you go
mashup of 4 and 5 of Nightmare on Elm Street, except but on a lesser level.
And part 2 with Shane, who's clearly competing with Sarah for the affection of the man.
Yeah. I really think you're right. They leaned on Nightmare on Elm Street more than Prom Night or Halloween or any of the other things for 2 and 3. No question.
But at least they took it in a new direction. Some of the kills are good. I feel, I always talk about a kill using that paper cutter from the old school.
I wrote that right here.
Yeah, and
paper
here they
yes.
teased us with it.
And then they hang her.
Yeah, and then they hang her and throw her out the window because they have to make it look like a suicide because she just told Vicky she's pregnant. That's the only reason why. But again,
that's what she's going to be concerned with, Mary Lou. Well, I better make this look like a suicide just in case. What the fuck would she care? Anyway.
At that, because it's so early. And I agree with you. I wanted the paper cutter when I was like, oh shit, I didn't remember this. And then I'm like, oh, that's right. They didn't use it. They hung her and threw her out the window.
The only time it's ever been used is in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake in the climax. Yeah. I want to see. I want to see somebody's hand go through the.
Oh, absolutely, and also the thing that you put the receipts on, the paper thing, the big needle.
That they stuck the guy's eye on an intruder.
Yeah, but I want to see the school version. I don't want to see Intruder. Fuck the supermarket.
Okay, you want Mary Lou to do it then? You're saying.
Oh, Mary Lou.
What's his name?
But this has better kills. I love the Monica kill, crushed in the locker. That's a cool kill. She was my favorite character in this. I like Monica. She's like, why can't I get a date? Monica, can I talk to you after class? Fuck off, loser.
Yeah. What a bitch. Yes.
And then she winds up with Josh.
Then
she winds up with Josh, who turns out to be the biggest dick in the whole film.
He didn't mean to, though.
No, what are you talking about? He fucking bribes Kelly to give him a blowjob in order to rig the vote. He's a dick.
I thought. He didn't want money. He'd rather have head. What can I tell you?
Kelly was cute too.
He's a kid. Yes, Kelly was cute. Yeah, they were all pretty cute, actually. And Mary Lou is sexy. There's no doubt about it. She has
very sexy.
That bad girl sex appeal, you know?
I think they also try to argue that there's some coming of age underlining theme in this film, and I really think this movie's pretty vapid. Like, I really don't see it. I really feel like it's empty. And it's trying to rely on the effects, and sometimes these movies work. I just feel like this one kind of just falls flat in the middle.
Because Mary Lou is so loose and Vicky's so, sort of uptight and
and so like, I mean, I feel like that part really does come through, but I don't think it's enough to carry the weight of the whole film. But I enjoy the movie. Yeah, I enjoy it, but it's just that middle part gets just a little draggy. Just drags out a little.
Dude, how about the hallway in the cafeteria nightmare scene? I love that. I think that's so terrifying. This, like, I don't know. It feels very authentic. These sort of nightmarish dream worlds that like Mary Lou lives in. The sort of hell that she's stuck in. I really like it. I know
what you're saying, but it doesn't scare me. It doesn't, like, I'm not scared.
Really, it kind of like, if I saw this when it first came out at 7 years old, I actually think this would be a movie that would terrify me.
I've mentioned this when we talked about this movie briefly before on the show, probably for the slasher. I saw this at age 13 on video. And all I remember was I thought Josh, the character, died from a blowjob. That's how I remembered it years later.
What a way to go.
I thought he went boom, and then the spark started shooting and whatever like that. And then when I rewatched it, I'm like, oh shit, I had this all wrong. Because I always used to make a joke, death by blowjob. And I'm like, no, it's not true at all.
It wasn't that malfunctioning computer that melted his face. No, it was the blowjob that killed him.
She had braces.
Yeah.
the electricity flowed through her. She had braces on, and then it went right to his cock and fucking death by blowjob. That would have been a good scene in a movie. See, put that in our movie. Girl has braces, blows a guy, gets electrocuted, his cock blows.
How about when Kelly deadly friends her in gym class with the volleyball?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Did you like that, Christian? I thought like that was she fucking tried to deadly friend her.
Okay. Here's a question.
Or that Vicky girl, she never really was she in anything else? Like, I mean, obviously she was in other movies. She never really struck it big though, did she? Like, I don't think she's been in. Whoops.
She's no Art Blank. I'll tell you that.
Taking it back to Saw, here's a question. I didn't like when they did it in Saw, and I don't like when they do it here. And it's one of the reasons is because why the fuck would they go and dig up her grave? And why the fuck he knows she's died. He saw the girl fucking die 30 years ago. Okay, woman is 1957 Hamilton High. She's dead. This guy, because he knows there's a possession or something going. Well, maybe it is Mary Lou. And if it is, she's not going to be.
I buy the scene. Bill is so reluctant to buy into it, even though Buddy's coming to see him, telling him she's back. Vicky's acting crazy. She's dressing like Mary Lou. He sees it because he's obviously the principal of the school. He's reluctant the whole time, and then at the end, even as he's digging her up, he's like, "She's dead." He's almost like he's expecting to see her.
And why would the body be in there? How fucking stupid. Why would she put a body in there? How stupid. What's she trying to cover up? It doesn't make any fucking sense.
What do you mean? It's for theatrical. It's for theatrical effect to put the priest in there.
It's stupid though.
I don't think so.
Sense.
We're talking about a supernatural film here, so I think
that's it. I will cite on Brandon's side here is they didn't make this. It is like 2 feet in to the Nightmare on Elm Street realm where you don't really have to have everything make sense. So we're not grounded in reality here. So I don't think everything, like, I'm a little bit more forgiving when we're dealing with supernatural stuff. Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night too. Like, I mean, that's literally how it was.
I'm accepting of a possession and other stuff, but that's the last thing you can do is dig up somebody. You know.
And Mary Lou, don't forget, like she's after Buddy and Billy, so it's sort of like playing games with them, like make him dig up the body, make him so paranoid that he digs up the body and discovers his buddy there, who he's been covering it up with for 30 years, and then realize that it's actually happening, and now he's going after Vicky. She's going after Vicky and the son, which is really the end game. Get Craig.
I guess. I don't know. If it didn't bother you guys, maybe I'm too uptight. It just I was watching. I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
It's such a drastically different film from part one that
it's nothing to do with part one. Even as a standalone movie, if I watch any fucking movie and I see this, I don't understand the motivations for A, the guy digging it up, and B, the fucking person being stuffed it like she's, well, just in case someone decides to fucking dig up my grave and see what's going on, I'm gonna put this fucking body in there. It's just stupid.
Man, she's been dead 30 years. She's a ghost. She's fucking with them.
I guess.
She's a demon.
But why would she in her fucking wildest dreams think that someone would dig up her fucking body? I don't know. Well, whatever. It doesn't matter.
But she's got possession over Vicky, so she's dropping all these hints to Bill. I mean, she's coming on to him. The hints are there. So she's driving him mad and leading him to that end game anyway. So I have no issue with it.
I won't beat a dead horse. That's fine. Okay, here's some comedy. Right after the fucking murder, the very next day, the girls are getting ready. They're talking about the prom. They're looking in the mirror in this one scene in the girls' room or something. And fucking Vicky is looking in there. She's making, she's kind of upset. She's making like a sad face. And her friend, one of them asks her, "What's the matter?" What's the matter? Their friend just fucking hung herself the day before. What do you want her to walk in fucking with smiles on? What an asinine question to ask. What's the matter? Nothing. If I stubbed my toe. What the fuck? What's the matter? Ridiculous. Okay, and I'm going to give you props on one thing. Big props. My favorite part of the whole fucking movie is that scary-ass horse. Holy fuck, that fucking horse.
This is just where the story developed that he told us about the rocking horse in his basement. Yeah. This is from when we spoke about this movie before. But it is creepy. Scary, dude. It's creepy. It's silly.
Creepy. It's sexual. It's nightmarish. I think the nightmare scenes in here are done really well. I'm really shocked to hear you guys so down on it. I'm a fan. I'm a big fan.
We're the ones in the minority, I think. I think there were a lot of fans of this movie.
I'm not a diehard 10 out of 10 fan, but it's I don't know. It's just I think it's effective.
No, there are good parts.
Middle is boring.
That's it. The second act is just dull.
Yes, I agree, 100%. That was my experience. I like the intro, the building of the characters, the stuff in the beginning. I appreciate all the fucking names: Dante, Browning, Cooper, Waters, Henenlotter, fucking Carpenter, Romero, everything. They go on, and they're great. I appreciate that. I appreciate the setup and everything else. And I love the last 20 minutes when Mary Lou finally fucking comes out and wreaks havoc. But a lot of the stuff in the middle, it's just kind of drab. It's just kind of dull for me. It's just, aside from a scene here or there, like the chalkboard scene or something else, it's just, as soon as Christian said it, that I 100%, the middle bores me. It's just, I wish it was great. If it was great,
it's a little bit slower. It's a little bit slower paced, definitely, but I feel like it's more of, Vicky's possession and sort of her slipping in and out of reality.
You're absolutely correct. You're correct. Yeah. We're gonna be raked over the coals, D, when we talk about being slow, because a lot of people think part one is the slow movie. It's slow and it dragged out.
But that's building suspense, and I care about the characters.
Absolutely, and that's the difference.
That's the difference.
That's the main difference. This one is relying on the set pieces, everything that Brandon's talking about. Some of them are amazing, especially for the time and for practical. And
how about the teacher, the pervy teacher, putting his hand on her ass, Mr. Craven?
Yeah, Mr. Craven. Yeah.
The good old days when teachers were allowed to touch the students like that.
Oh, man, it's the good old days.
And then Vicky kissing Monica, really a very, underlying suppressed sexual awakening, that type of
That's exactly
theme.
it. I made the joke earlier.
But you're right. That's really what it is, this whole film. And, when she's making out with Monica, I'm like, oh, fuck. Dude, that seems so hot. And Monica's running away. I'm like, don't run. Let her kiss you.
So maybe by containing this, it does work against it. Because I was saying otherwise it comes across very vapid. But no, I guess that's enough to have enough weight to have an underlining theme for the film. based on
again,
what they're doing.
Not super strong with the kills. Slightly better, or maybe a little bit more gorier in here. Even though I think the blood kind of looks soapy. It looks weird. It looks sudsy to me. It looks almost like cherry soda, like red soda. Like, yeah, just
maybe they did that on purpose to try to get away with more or something like that. Sometimes,
yeah,
they try to find little ways around the censors.
Oh, I have a note. Rob Zombie, the white fucking horse again. I actually wrote that, even though I like the white horse.
I love that white horse.
I do too.
Well, here's a question. I saw this thing 3 times. I rewound it. Didn't understand what happened. They were out to dinner, and obviously they're trying to say that Vicky's being possessed, but it was edited so poorly. I think they fucked something up. All of a sudden, these dishes break. These plates when they're at dinner or when they're out to eat. It's Vicky and her boyfriend and something, and they're talking about how she's going through troubles. Then all of a sudden, a waitress comes over or a waiter to bring food, and fucking plates fall, and then the scene cuts. And I didn't know what the fuck they were trying to convey there. It didn't. I rewound it 3 times. I'm like, did she cause that to happen? It's done so quick, and the way it's edited, it shows you nothing. I don't understand what they were doing in that scene. But these plates fall when they're served their food. You guys recall seeing that?
Vaguely. I do remember the scene. I don't remember if she caused it or if it's just one of those scenes where she's trying to convey to Craig what's going on, and like her nerves are at their last wits, you know? She's like losing.
Should have left it out because it doesn't really. I understand maybe what they're going for. She's falling apart, but they don't explain how those fucking plates just fall or what's going. It's just weird, and it cuts, and then it cuts. It's just
the best gore in this movie is when Bill knocks Craig out with the shoe. Where's my shoe, Dad? Right here. Boom! Fucking loafer to the temple.
Shoes.
That's crazy.
Amazing. And how about the blowjob things? When, first of all, when they come back and he says, oh, what the hell does he tell her? He goes, your breath smells good. He tells her after she fucking blew her.
Yeah.
And then he goes, hey, geez, when the results come in, he goes, nah. He goes, how'd you blow it?
How'd you blow it? Yeah. How about I don't know if they dubbed his voice, but there's one line where when they first get to the dance and the boyfriend says to Kelly, I drink, I get drunk, so what's the problem?
Yeah,
it was just the voice is so goofy.
You're right, it was goofy. You're right. And they weren't showing his face either. They were just showing the back of his head.
Yeah, it was definitely dubbed, and it was dubbed with like a goofy ass voice. I wrote it down because I'm like, this is like so Dave Z humor right here.
Well, and I guess the reality would be that you guys get enough prom in the first 3 movies that's why there's less prom in part 4, Brandon, to go for that.
Hey, I already blew my load and said I liked all 4. So clearly I'm coming around on part 4 this time.
And you know what though? No, it's this one. It's weird. There is good here for sure, but I just don't understand why this one seems to be more loved. And is typically the standout of the series for a lot of people. I find that weird. I find the dislike for part 1 to be the craziest thing of all, because I think part 1 is so much like a Halloween, so much, you know, with elements of Carrie, and it's such a great film that I feel like that's probably the most underrated slasher, the original Prom Night.
I have the answer. That you guys just basically said it. One begets the other. People that hate on the original Prom Night blow fucking Prom Night 2 because it's radically different.
Yeah, but but here I am, the exception. I'm not that I'm blowing.
You are the exception. That's fine. You like them both.
Yeah, I do like them both. I like them. I like part 2 a lot for being different. I like the story. I like the idea of, you know, a spirit, you know, not at rest because it died a horrible death, and the fact that the curse is contained within the trunk, and that the curse gets opened up and it's all connected to the crown. I feel for me it gets a little sloppy in the 3rd act, even though I like it. It's like, what's the end game? They shoot Vicky's body, so obviously Mary Lou has to emerge from the body since the body's dead. So how does Vicky come back at the end?
Thank you. That's my no. How does it's just like Jesse in part 2. Fucking Nightmare 2. Again, when Freddy comes out of him, there should be no more fucking Jesse. You're dead. He came out.
Exactly.
It's over. Same thing here. She should be a fucking torn apart corpse. That should have been the end of the movie.
The end of the movie should have been Vicky's dead. Craig gets into the car with his father, and then his father is still possessed, which is fine. Mary Lou jump bodies into the father, and then drives off. The same ending, just no Vicky.
Yep. I'm 100% with you. I don't like that. That's my problem. That, and again, because the girl literally does say that. When Vicky goes up there and she's going through the trunk and this and that, and they see that she goes, oh, in 1957, she goes, she wore these things. These are the last things she wore before she died. Those words came out of her mouth. So that's what makes zero fun. If these are the last things she wore before she died, they're fucking burned up in a fire. That I cannot excuse that fucking thing. But anyway, I'm not gonna.
It's weird. It's weird because I don't remember her seeing her wearing the cape. I know it's the cape, the prom cape, but when she's getting the prom, she's like she basically yells at the girl, "Just give me the damn crown" or something.
But then it wouldn't make sense. But then why would they
know
that's if she didn't wear it? So either way, there's no right answer to that question. It's a fucking.
Yeah. They should have kept the cape out of it. They should have kept the cape out of it. The crown was really the possessed item here. Was really the cursed item, and in a fire, okay, she's on fire, she falls to the ground, the crown falls off, that's fine. Then they store the crown away in the trunk. They don't need the cape, they just need the cape for the sake of Vicky building her dress out of it or whatever.
Well, that's a high school prop piece of shit crown. People fucking died in that fire. That crown would be fucking melted. There's no crown to be had. It's just, if they would have taken their time thinking out some things that I have questions to that no one can answer, I would have liked the movie more. It'd probably go up a full point. Maybe not that much, but I mean, it could at least alleviate some of my issues with the basic boredom I had. So between boredom in the second act and unexplained shit in the plot, that's what brings it down. And I do not, I don't hate the movie. The movie's good. Good is where it ends for me. People, I don't get why it's elevated. Like I said at the beginning of it, that's all. But no, it's fine. It's very 80s in some of the best and worst ways, but it's a time capsule and it's fun. There's things about it. It's the kind of movie. If I'm gonna watch one movie out of these four, if I'm having friends over, this is gonna be the one because this is the most 80s, and it's just, it's a popcorn film. And I'm fine with that. It's hanging out with your buddies and chilling. I'll have a few drinks, whatever. That's what I can respect about it. But I just don't see it. I don't put it on a pedestal of a real horror with comedy fucking things in it and supernatural, like a Reanimator or anything like that. It's not even.
And it's weird because I'll defend it, but I actually think my rating compared to the top 50 slasher show, I actually think my rating for this has come down. I can't remember. Mine definitely came down, but it still sounds like it's going to be a lot higher than you guys, or at least a little bit higher. But the only issue I really had was, we talked about it. Vicky really should be dead at the end. She shouldn't emerge. The body hopping thing makes sense because she possesses Vicky basically through the crown, and through the cape. So when Bill gets the crown and crowns her to avoid her killing everyone at the prom, a la Carrie style at the end, it would make sense that she would, jump into his body. And zombie Mary Lou looks really awesome too, I thought.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And so I'm really a fan of the visuals, but in the end, I still think it's a really good film. But I agree with you. There are a few issues, but I never felt like it. I didn't feel like there was too much downtime for me. I was into it enough the whole time. If anything, you could say maybe it's Vicky's, a lot of like lethargy in her character, but that's the way the character's supposed to be because she even says I didn't sleep well when Craig tells her she looks like shit or whatever. So she's sort of Nancy-esque in Nightmare on Elm Street, but she takes it to a point where it's like even the locker room scene where she chases and kills Monica, it's great, and obviously she's naked and she looks good, she's got a nice ass and like everything's cool, but it's like, all right, walk a little quicker. And we know you're a demon, we know you're possessed, but let's pick up the pace a little bit. But
you're right there. Yep.
Yeah.
Life's a joke, then you croak.
That's a joke.
That's a good one. And I like that.
He tried to make a guacamole radio, but he only picked up Mexican radio stations.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
And I love the guy's computer fridge. That was fucking great.
Dude, the computer fridge was awesome.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I want one of those fucking things. That's cool.
Yeah.
So, well, I'll tell you what. I stayed the same as I was when we did the top 50 slate. It didn't make my top 50. It still wouldn't make it. It's a 6.5.
Oh, wow. I'm not that much higher. I'm a 7 out of 10. I think I was 7.5, but 7 out of 10 is where I feel like this belongs.
Yeah, and I went down a bit, and I'm a 6 out of 10. But all within the same realm. It just didn't blow me away. It's funny because I do look at these things, and there are movies out there that you never have. Like, we could say this about every film we watch, of course. Would you watch this again, or would you not watch this again? And I have absolutely no problem saying I will always watch the first Prom Night. I absolutely have no need to watch 2, 3, and 4 ever again.
Yeah, look, I mean, I get what you're saying, and you could really just make that case about any movie you've seen or any movie, period. But I would love for, I guess Vinegar Syndrome would be the company if I'm thinking about it. I would love for them to just put out a little, not super expensive box set with 2, 3, and 4, because we don't really need another one. I got the Synapse Blu-ray. It's perfect. But if they put out like a little, like they did with that Amityville recently, they put out like 3 shitty Amityvilles. Right. Put out Prom Night 2, 3, and 4 for like $35 and a nice little slipcase. I'd buy it. I like these films enough where I would actually rewatch a whole 4. I had fun
and advertise it.
Yeah,
advertise it as uncut, because you can get the uncut. Derek, actually, props to Derek B, who sent us part 3 and 4. He had the he had them uncut. So I mean, advertise them as uncut and have 2, 3, and 4 there. That'd be cool. If the price was right, I might buy it.
Special features, because I would be interested in making featurettes, whatever. That stuff I'd be interested in, and that would get me to watch the movie or buy the set, no question.
Yeah.
I did want to mention one thing. I had one other note for Prom Night that I forgot to mention. I think it's important on this show, is that the Finnish video release was cut by 14 minutes and 48 seconds in 1983, and it still got a K-18 rating. So I go, what the fuck was left in this movie? Just disco dance?
It's just Marco.
Yeah.
Maybe they cut the disco dancing out.
Those
Maybe that's what the
fucking Finns.
They hate disco. They hate disco in Finland. Didn't you know? It's the devil's music. Speaking of that, I do like the music in that movie. I've listened to the soundtrack. I even had a fucking bootleg CD of the fucking soundtrack for years.
Prom night.
All that shit, dude. Everything is all right. No,
that's a good song. It's a good song.
All the songs are fucking Fade to Black, the song that comes in the thing at the end, and Love Me Till I Die, and fucking Changes. All that shit. I'm telling you what. Here's the funny thing. They actually had real songs when they made that movie. They played fucking Gloria Gaynor. They played a Pat Benatar. They played another disco song, something else. And then when they were going to put it out, someone said, hey, you can't put that shit out. You
can't do that? That would have been fucking epic if they had Pat Benatar in there.
Yeah.
So Zaza fucking did it in 5 days. He wrote it. Isn't that his name?
No, it is. It's just funny the way you said it. But Zaza did it. It's
Pazuzu.
Yeah, Pazuzu.
But yeah, Zaza put it together in fucking 5 days. Recorded, wrote it, fucking all that shit, and came out with that great soundtrack. And it does have a really good score too. Something else about Prom Night that's overlooked. There's some memorable fucking music in that movie. There really is. I mean, I could play the intro or any of that shit, and you'd be like, yeah, that's quality fucking slasher music. The one thing that it lacks is a good chase scene fucking score. When they had that one chase scene, that would have added to that whole scene, I think. But anyway, that's Prom Night. But yeah.
Now on to 3. This will be interesting, I think.
Indeed.
Yes.
Oh, you know what we forgot to talk about? I don't know if you guys noticed this, and I don't know why I noticed it. It's a Jeremy thing. But did you notice in part 2 the scene where Bill, the principal, and the priest buddy are talking in his office? You see the boom mic hanging right in the middle of the shot.
There's like at least 2 scenes. You see the boom mic.
Oh, is there another one? Okay,
shot, yeah.
That one I know. That one it was almost on the ground. I think it almost tripped Bill.
It was at least 2, possibly 3.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit. I don't see that stuff, but this one just is like, oh, look, we got a little furry friend in this scene.
Funny you should mention boom mic, because I have my first ever boom mic note for this movie.
Oh really? I didn't see it in part 3.
It was in the kitchen when fucking the girl was talking to her grandmother, whoever the hell it was, or mother, whoever she lived with. It was right in there in the kitchen hanging. I go, look at that, it's a boom mic, and I always hear people talking about it.
Yeah, and then I think that's the second one I'm remembering, because I remember it being in the kitchen as well.
Yeah, you want to backtrack a little more now?
No, you fucking skunk you. Are we going to introduce the movie or not?
I'll introduce it. Yeah. All right, Prom Night 3. The
Meet the
Last
Patriots.
Kiss. Prom Night 3, Hello, Mary Lou again. The malevolent spirit of Mary Lou Maloney returns to Hamilton High, where she manipulates a naive male student into helping her wreak havoc on the school. This one's directed by Ron Oliver and Peter Simpson, and written by Ron Oliver.
And I'm glad, once again, Hamilton High, they talk about 1987. They do the same thing, and they continue with, they have a villain, and they continue on, even though it's a different woman playing it, but they continue on with the Mary Lou thing.
I like it too. I like the idea of continuing on and wrapping up the Mary Lou saga here, and I like this film.
But the original wrap up, really, could have been another one.
I mean, it's Nightmare on Elm Street wrap up.
Yeah, this is another Nightmare on Elm Street one too. I feel like this wrap up because in the end she sort of wins.
Yeah, which I like. So
I like it too. This one's
this one I've actually always liked because it was on, again, the Canadian version of HBO a lot. So I like it. I don't love it. I like it. It is silly, but at least it knows it's silly going in. It's like I do think they may have added some things, Dave, like you're saying, some of the music, some of those announcements I think may have been added afterwards to be, waka, waka, waka. But I like she's only a guidance counselor joke. I like that running gag with the guidance counselor.
Dude, and the kills in this, even though this is the goofiest of the films by far, and this to me is a straight up spoof film, like intentionally, the kills are really good. The ice cream kill is funny. Why fruit? Why fruit?
Why fruit? I know, there are some great lines.
Yeah, why
enemies,
fruit?
Enemies. Write down enemies.
There's
some good interactions with these people.
I like that.
I actually don't mind.
How about the other cop's face when he takes his jacket? He's like, we don't need to see it. And the other cop's like,
yeah. Well, I like how we don't need to see this. It's almost like, again, a wink, wink, nudge, nudge to the audience, and they cover the camera. You don't need to see this, or we don't need to see this.
Dude, you know what would have been really funny? You know, it might have been over the top goofy, but I really thought, like, the first time I saw this, they were going to do this. You know how when, well, obviously, I'll get to it, but the opening sequence with Jackie Boy, like, I just found
Jack
it funny.
Russell, by the way. His name is Jack Russell, like the dog.
No, that's his middle name, Russell. His last name's Terrier.
Oh, my God. Woo!
I like the fact he said, it can't be. You're dead. Not the fact that a fucking magical jukebox appeared in the middle of the boiler room. He's just like, it can't be. You're dead. He keeps his booze in the mop bucket. That's disgusting. I promise you, when I was...
What's her name? And that's a Canadian joke. They did the same thing in fucking Black Christmas when she kept her thing in the toilet water.
Yes, gross. It's so nasty.
Oh, it's covered.
This one for me is like the climax. This one for me is like it gets messy at the climax part.
Like Master P. Sorry.
Gotta let them get this stuff out, everybody.
Okay, sorry, C.
No, it's fine. I do it all the time. I gotta somehow put up with it for you guys.
Can't be. You're dead. I haven't heard that in 30 years.
Jack Russell.
I like that. Again, setup is good. The kills are over the top. Like, they're goofy ass kills. But what other movie are you going to see 2 ice cream cones stabbed into a guy's hand and then him stuffed with fruit? I mean, and they know it. They're playing along with it. This was scripted the way, and it's not like an afterthought. I'd say that some of the music choices and maybe some of those announcements were afterthoughts. But is where
that's perfect for this type of film. That's perfect. You know, the chess competition's been canceled. All chess team members report to the library to play with themselves.
Yeah, that was fun.
This is the one where I think the first 2 acts are fine, and it gets a little messy. The climax is just like with all the zombies. I still like it, but it's just a little. It's almost a little too much. Like the jukebox chasing, shooting CDs out, and or records. I guess they are. I guess they're supposed to be records, but I think they were CDs actually.
I'm with you there too. Yeah, I'm lining up.
It's weird. I like the third act probably the best because it gets darker and I don't want to say more serious because those scenes are somewhat goofy still, but it's a much more serious tone than the first 2 acts.
And I think it's ridiculous.
And the end of this film is by far the darkest of any of them.
Well, yeah, they're trapped in.
That saved it. That brought it up because I will tell you this. My memory of this movie, and the first time I ever saw it was Year of the Slasher. I never watched it before. And I gave it a 5.5 I did not like it, and my recollection of it was this was so fucking silly, stupid with comedy that I never wanted to watch it again. I had it lumped in with like Pet Sematary 2 and fucking Return of the Living Dead 2 and Chud 2, which I fucking those are the three fucking part 2s.
Would that be Bud the Chud?
Bud the Chud. I never want to see those 3 movies again. I fucking think they're ridiculous with the comedy, and they're just piss fucking poor. So my recollection of this movie after just that one time seeing it was that this was just goofball fucking beginning to end. And as I'm watching this movie, it really isn't.
It kind of is.
I don't think
in a good way. In a good way.
It doesn't. I don't know. It wasn't like really schlocky.
Mary Lou is sexy. Like they do everything that they're doing in part 2, but I think they do it better here. I really do. Sorry, Dave, if I cut you off there.
No, you didn't cut me off.
Okay. I think there's just something about it. Maybe because 2 can't seem to get the balance of comedy right. It's more campy. I think that's where that falls. Whereas this one is comedy, and I feel like they might not get the balance right to appease to the horror fans, but they get enough of it right to make it enjoyable.
The comedy is all waka waka for me. I still enjoy it, but I can't see anything serious. I think it's so far out. I think it's so far out and goofy.
Freddy 4 and onward is much more goofy than this.
Oh, see, I don't think so. I think this is way more goofy. Yeah, but I still enjoy it. I still enjoy it because I like the comedy. The comedy lands for me. I get it. I like that. I like the fact that Alex is like, you gotta stop killing, please. What kind of relationship is this? You kill them and I bury the bodies? And I like
it. That's
I
like
not
comedy. That's more like fucking. There's a difference between humor and comedy. I say it all the time. This is humor. Comedy is fucking making it. That's waka waka. Clever fucking humor lines is one thing. Waka waka is the fucking doing those the things they drop in, the musical choices and the announcements on the speaker, some of them, and maybe the one thing with the football, the way it kills them, and it just. But when it comes down to it,
Phantasm.
It's fucking they do good kills. It's like the kills. Yes, they're using something a little silly, but it isn't like watching Freddy. She's not fucking looking at the camera and saying, ridiculous. Here, how about an ice cream cone, Luke?
What you're getting, they're having the sex scene. Ooh, the doctor is in. You're still getting these one-liners.
She's that sexual. That's different.
It's still there. It's still the one-liners, but I like it. I'm not.
I know you're not. I'm just saying. I'm not knocking either. I'm just trying to point out the difference between humor and fucking over the top comedy.
The fact that she doesn't say here's an ice cream cone does not make that scene any less ridiculous, but I still love it. The fact that she's like, what's going on here, young lady? You're in a lot of trouble for opening up an ice cream shop in the back of my science. Like, it's so ridiculous, but I love it. I love it, though. But it's like, you don't even need the ice cream cone comment because it's just... but I love it.
But that's like teen screwball type humor. That isn't like fucking okay. That's not what you see in Bud the Chud and Nightmare on Elm Street fucking 4 and Plus and them. That's taking it to fucking like levels of like Airplane and the Naked Gun. You understand what the difference in what I'm saying between the humor and the comedy? One's fucking. You're not gonna see it's like seeing that baby run around in fucking Dead Alive, that zombie baby kid. Fucking. There's Dead Alive comedy and there's comedy like fucking Shaun of the Dead. It's different fucking type of comedy. It's trauma comedy versus fucking witty dialogue. You get what I'm saying? That's just.
This to me felt trauma-esque and.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, but in a good way. Again.
Well, that's fine. Maybe I'm getting soft. Maybe it's.
No, it's fine. Like all the things like you think.
Maybe I was imagining it. Maybe because of what I was imagining it being like a Pet Sematary 2 and Return of the Living Dead 2. Just maybe because I was thinking it was gonna be all schlock. That when I actually watched it, it wasn't to the extreme that I recalled it being. So maybe it's just my personal experience, but either way.
And that Miss Richards kill might be the best kill in the whole franchise. The battery acid, that's nasty, man.
Oh, it's great.
That's a good kill.
Yeah,
it was like a fuck trap.
Yeah.
In a way, it's battery acid. You know?
I always liked that main guy. I thought that main guy was pretty witty. He never really hit it big. He was on a show. It came out roughly the same time frame as Friends. And Friends skyrocketed, and this show didn't. And it had him and Paul Rudd. And it was called Wild Oats. And it came out, and it was kind of a not raunchy comedy, but like, you know, when you watch the first season of Friends, it was actually a little bit more hard hitting than when it got a little softer over the years. It was a little bit more risque. Same with like the same if you watch the first season of Modern Family, it's much different than what it evolved into. The first season of Modern Family, I thought was a little had a little bit of edge to it, and then it kind of softened out.
Really?
I thought it did anyway. Comparatively,
I never saw it, but I want to see it. If it's raunchy now, I want to watch the first season
of Friends or Modern Family.
Modern Family,
not raunchy, just edgier than what it became. Edgier.
Yeah,
Difference.
Well, you know, it found its footing, and then it sort of like plays safe to its 20 million viewers after a while.
And then that's it, and I prefer the edgier. So like Wild Oats came out, and maybe it was a bad comedy, because I'm going back to 1994 range, but it came out, and it had 6 episodes, and it died. I didn't even know Paul Rudd was the other star. I had to look it up. And then Friends took off. I don't remember.
And look, Paul Rudd really didn't go on to do much after that.
Halloween 6. It's the only thing I've ever seen.
Just became a fucking Ant-Man.
That's the only thing you've ever seen with Paul Rudd in it.
Uh-huh.
Oh, the guy's like a superstar.
Paul Rudd is the biggest star from probably the Halloween franchise.
For sure.
Besides Ant-Man, I own Ant-Man. I just never got around to it yet. But what else?
I've actually never seen Ant-Man.
Because he's in Ant-Man. He's also in Ant-Man, 2 Ant-Mans, which then I think equates to like 3 Avengers movies as well now. And then of course, like he had all his rom-coms. Yeah, like 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw 40-Year-Old Virgin. Yeah. He was in it.
Yeah. He's the guy like when they have you know how I know you're not gay? Or I'm not gay?
That's him? Okay.
However that joke goes.
I gotta go back and watch
I know you're gay.
You're like gargling balls.
It's like the test in part 4. What was I gonna say? Okay, check it out. Did you guys used to read the TV Guide by any chance?
Of course.
Okay, did you guys used to read and get excited for when the fucking fall TV preview episode edition came out, and they would show all the new shows that were coming out? Like I could see like Wild Oats being one of the shows. Do you remember how they used to? Did you guys used to read that, or was it just me?
This was Christian in 1994. Yes, Wild Oats is finally here.
I'm gonna sew it.
That'll never make it, Friends. This sounds shit. That'll never make it. Wild Oats. I see 15 seasons. I can't wait to sew my Wild Oats.
If I was a betting man, I would have put the money on Wild Oats. I would have lost. I'm dead serious.
Wow. But I used to get so excited reading that edition, and it would show all the fucking new shows that were coming in syndication. And oh man,
it doesn't feel like it was that long ago. I mean, I remember that.
Till just now.
Yeah.
It used to be so exciting. See, kids nowadays never know that rush.
I want to know if you can find that show. If anybody, I didn't check YouTube. Maybe it's on YouTube. Maybe it popped up. Like, there's got to be a graveyard.
I'm sure Jason Smith owns it.
Wild Oats?
Yeah, he owns everything. He buys everything.
I think he's got a tattoo of it on his arm.
So, in fact, good thing you brought it up. I was be like, why did nobody bring up Wild Oats while talking about The Last Kiss?
It's a fucking masterpiece.
You didn't talk about the Raid 1 or 2. You didn't talk about Wild Oats.
I don't care about fucking Raid. Can of fucking Raid. Fuck, I didn't talk about fucking.
You know what? I thought about that because the Apostle director has done some great movies, but we talk about the movies.
And we have brought up other movies before. Just that one was like we had to get down to business. It was 4 movies, 3 movies, but big fucking movies.
Yeah. Here we're able to talk about Wild Oats a little more.
Yeah.
I want to find the TV Guide.
Wild Oats.
I want to find the TV Guide edition that has the preview and Wild Oats being in it.
Wild Oats.
Although, might be Canadian TV Guide though, so it's hard to say.
I like Sarah too in this. I really like her. I feel like she's the girl I'd want to be with out of anyone in the Prom Night franchise.
Yeah, see, I thought, and the acting is good considering it's campy, like it's over the top. Like I think she did a great job.
She did. She's so pretty, and she's playing her character very seriously. It feels like Alex is trapped in sort of this comedy movie because he's the one, dealing with Mary Lou and everything. He's the one, those announcements are funny. Mrs. Melanoma is returning to her job at the toxic dump. stuff like that.
But I don't get
How
mad.
about the world needs ditch diggers too? Did you hear when she said that?
That's funny. And I don't get mad. I bake.
Yeah, I bake. She does bake.
Yeah, it's funny. Like it's not grade A material by any means, but it's definitely funnier than a lot of the horror comedies that have come out and that you're subjected to, like you mentioned, Bud the Chud and whatever. And I actually think that this works better overall. Maybe it's not a sexual awakening theme that part 2 has, but I think it's a better enjoyment factor to this movie. And it's funny, I was talking with Heather, and Heather said this is the one that she would never have to watch again. Out of all the ones in the series, she would never have to see part 3 again. I think she thinks it was terrible. But I actually think there's more enjoyment here from an enjoyment level than part 2.
Ooh. Maybe. Again, Freddy Krueger nails here coming out, very Freddy indeed. The parents' voices when he calls home after he falls asleep in the house. I thought it would have been funny if when he returned home, the parents actually talked in those voices.
Yeah.
I actually thought that was going to be what was going to happen. Like, he's going to go out and they were going to be like, like that was going to be their actual voice.
Oh, could you imagine
that? That is the stuff that probably Dave you didn't like, but I thought it was funny, the Charlie Brown voices on the phone or whatever. But then when you meet his parents, I thought they did a good job again because they make the dad nice when they think he's done well at school. They get him the bike and whatever, and they're like,
yes, that's how I know it was a Canadian movie, because when they looked at the fucking piece of paper, he came home and it said honor roll. It was spelled HONOUR. So as soon as I saw that, I go, this is a Canadian movie. Honor.
Yeah, not known for their spelling.
Oh, fuck. That's the proper. That's the Queen's English. You fucking
just
scumbags.
Just like color. It would be fine if it was pronounced that way.
Canada has a queen?
Yeah.
I have no idea what the fuck they have. They have a prime minister, I think, right?
It's a killer hornet. We're just fucking sending them down to you guys.
The brown hornet.
The brown hornet.
Don't send him down. You know who that is, right? Ghost Dan. The brown hornet.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, no, I enjoy it. I like Alex. He becomes the star ball player, becomes number one on the honor roll. It's ridiculous. It's funny. The little bit of seriousness in this film is Sarah aware of what's going on. Mrs. Richards aware of what's going on. They're all trying to sort of stop it, but everyone else is sort of like caught up in this world. And definitely shades of the gay undertones with Shane. Shane is clearly vying for Alex's love and affection. Wants to take in fact, the father when he gives him the bike, the father when he gives him the bike, he's like, "This should be good for you and Shane to take your cross country trip." What, they're gonna sit on each other's backs on a bike cross country? He says that to him, like
he's gonna buy a sidecar for him.
Yeah, well.
And then when he gets his heart taken out, and I do like the green screen effect later, where it's just a big hole.
Oh, that's so bad, but in a funny way.
Yeah, I like it too.
The newsreel.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was okay with that shit.
Yeah, the Phantasm football kill.
I'm talking about it in such a feeling like I'm talking about it in such a high regard. I do not love this movie. I just think it's enjoyable, but my enjoyment level is a little strained at the end, where it's like the twitchy zombies in the climax and whatever.
Yes.
So like, don't get me wrong. I'll keep it in check. It's just where I feel like I fall out in part 2. This kept me on board through most of the movie and then falls apart for me at the end. Whereas part 2 got me back into the enjoyment level. So my ratings are actually fairly even for these series, especially since we don't do quarter ratings anymore. But it's still just more, I guess, more my bag of film. The jokes hit for the most part. Even the groaners.
Why was Shane lounging around in karate gi?
I don't know what that was all about. He was doing it.
I thought they were going to turn it into Nightmare 4.
Right.
He's
Maybe
just
that's why.
Chilling out.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
But they do things like the parents coming home after he gets his heart torn out, and they see what's his face running away from the house, and then they go in and they scream. Like, it's funny because it does have a little bit of seriousness to it, but then with these goofy moments throughout.
And then Alex becomes Nancy in Nightmare on Elm Street. He starts reading about the demons. He starts taking those pills, the stay-ups.
Yeah, you're right.
He's drinking sodas and trying to stay up all night. Doesn't want to fall asleep.
Doesn't he
get
actually say
arrested?
the line?
They do the whole trial thing.
Does he say, "I can't keep up with you"? Doesn't he have like a line like that, like with her, with all the killings that she's doing, and he's like, like he's getting exasperated because he's getting.
Yeah, he's exhausted. He's like, this isn't a relationship. You kill them, I bury the bodies. And Leonard to Sarah later. Leonard's very funny in this. Leonard has his his dance scene with her. It's very he's like Jamie Lee in Part 1. He's awesome. And then he's like, I don't think Alex did the killings. He wouldn't be stupid enough to bury the bodies on the football field. And the one thing he did do.
Exactly that.
And another thing, when they show Leonard in the dream world, then he's all zombie-esque. You know who he looked like to me? And this was what reminded me of Troma. He looks like with that red line across his face, he looks like Sergeant Kabuki Man or something. This is like Sergeant Bukaki Man.
That was your high school hero. He actually looked like the nerd in Class of Newcomb High. Actually, when he goes drinks the water and starts.
Yes, you're right.
Out.
Yes.
That's what he reminded me of. Actually.
Damn, haven't seen that in years. But what a position to be in, man. He's got Sarah on one side and Mary Lou on the other, and they're both freaking gorgeous.
Yeah.
I think I would
very attractive. I
would do
Sarah.
it. I would bury the bodies if that's what it took to have both of those. If I was him, I would be okay with it.
I probably would have buried those bodies too. I mean, he was just getting sex and hand jobs and just left and right. I would be burying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Too. Yeah,
and I would take a Midsummer for them if I had to.
Yeah, you put me in the bear.
No. What I'm saying is, what I said on the last show, and I'm not going to say it in front of Christian, but if it was proposed to me by them, saying, if you want to sleep with me, you have to, you have a meat pie and a drink.
Why are you not going to say it in front of me? Oh,
you said.
Oh my God, yeah.
But doing a Midsummer. That's that. That if a woman is in that high of a regard, if I think she's that attractive, and that was the proposition, you can have me, do what you want with me, but you got to do this for me first.
In the hot, sweating midsummer heat, eating a fucking warm meat pie with.
Yeah, but look what happens at the end of it. Look at these two. My God, I'm okay. That's all I could say.
Sarah wasn't requiring. I'll eat Sarah's cookies.
Yeah, I'll eat Sarah's cookies.
You could have Mary Lou's meat pie.
Now, was she a better cook in this movie? Oh, shit. Awesome.
Was who a better cook?
Was she a better cook in this movie or Pin? Remember she cooked in Pin? She had the big meal. They had a big deal about it.
I love her, man.
I love her, too. She's so pretty.
She really is. She's just like...
She's relatable.
She's girlfriend material.
Yes, she is. Even if it's, the way she started off in Pin. But either way, it doesn't matter. Pin. Do you guys think that car was Christine that was in the climax of this movie and they're driving around in that car? We think that was supposed to be Christine? And is that a 57 car? I think we talked about this when we talked about Christine, but it would make sense. 1957, Hamilton High.
Oh, maybe that was like a little Easter egg or homage, but I never even thought of it. That's actually kind of cool.
I think it may be. I don't know for sure. You silly bitch! I'm the other woman. That part was good. That's honestly, I don't think I have any real notes. Honestly, just that and this is what made it for me, because I wrote wow, surprise, but ? Because when something happened at the end, I was like, that's a surprise. But is it going to stand? Because it never fucking does. And then it did. And then what an ending! ! Like that brought the movie up from my old rating to my new one.
Like just being stuck in hell or in limbo or whatever it is.
Wow. Fucking awesome.
Yeah. Well, she jumps through the floor to go rescue Alex. And, they think when they drive the car, they get out, but they didn't. They're still trapped in that world. And then when Sarah gets killed, and Alex is just trapped at the 50s diner. It's dark.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck.
And then that rap song kicks on.
Maestro Flesh West. Holy fuck! I'm watching the movie, and in the middle of the movie, that song comes on.
It does.
And do you know, Christian? Do you know who Maestro Fresh West is?
Yeah. He's a Canadian rapper.
He is not only a Canadian rapper, he is the first Canadian black man to fucking have a fucking platinum album.
He's the first Canadian black man? I'm sure there's got to be a Canadian black man before him.
Dude, Maestro Fresh West. I used to love him when I was young, and this fucking song came on, and I never heard that song from Maestro. I'm like, that sounds just like Maestro Fresh West. So I looked it up, and sure enough, but this song only appears on the soundtrack here. It's on any of his albums or any like singles, nothing. I looked up the title at the end.
Did you buy the LP?
I thought about it.
Did you buy Mike Merriman's new album, Maestro Fresh Cuts?
I got a funny fucking story about Maestro Fresh West, by the way.
I like that you keep saying it's fun.
I know.
Maestro Fresh West opened for Public Enemy in 1991. I drove to fucking Toronto. I stayed out all night long. Took my dad's car.
What the hell's a Public Enema?
It was a school night. I completely disobeyed my parents to go see Public Enemy at the town ballroom or the show place, someplace in fucking downtown Toronto, just to go see Public Enemy Fear of a Black Planet tour. And I fucking drove down there and saw him, and Maestro Fresh West opened for him. And I was already a fan of Maestro Fresh West. I had his first cassette tape, which came out in like 89 or something like that, Symphony in Effect. So now, and I think I had him because I'm where I live. I don't think that his stuff was available all over the country.
I'm pretty sure he didn't break through to like mainstream USA. You're probably right. Like border
but I was a big fan. Yeah. He's a great rapper. So now, here's a funny story. I wanted to go see, and there was going to be a concert. And the artist at this show was a summertime fucking show, and it was going to be Kool Moe Dee, Ice-T, and Maestro Fresh West. That was the fucking lineup for that show. So I have my father call to get tickets. They're playing someplace in Toronto. You know, I forgot where. So I had my father call to fucking ask to buy these tickets for this show. So he calls up the place. He's inquiring about the tickets.
What did he call him?
And then all of a sudden he goes, so what's the show? What's the date? I heard him say this and this. And then all of a sudden my father, he's talking to him for like a minute. Then all of a sudden my father goes, I'm sorry, sir. I don't speak French. Here's the funny part. Because of what the guy said to him, the name of the artist, he thought he was speaking French to him. The concert, he goes, Kool Moe Dee, Ice-T, Maestro Fresh West. He thought he was talking language. I'm sorry, sir. I don't speak French.
Holy shit.
I thought for sure that story was going. I knew it was going somewhere like that. I thought it was going to go the other way where your dad was going to call him something like completely wrong. No,
of course not. But we joked about that for years because then we were right there. Yeah. And he says, Kool Moe Dee, Ice-T, Maestro Fresh West. He said the way he said he thought he was speaking French. Anyway, Maestro was fun. Great. And this movie did come up a little bit for me. If anybody has anything else, I don't know. But
what's that?
Like peace sign.
That's not a peace sign.
The principal.
Oh,
remember?
Yeah, that's hilarious. That was funny.
Yeah,
and that finger slice is great.
Yeah,
dude,
what a start. It was good shit. Yes. Cut that finger. Yeah. So, well, yeah. I came up a little bit. I came up slightly. I was at a 5.5. I am now at a 6.
I'm right there with you, Dave. I have it evenly with part 2, a 6. I don't see any real difference in quality or anything, in my opinion. They're both kind of a good continuation of that same sort of structure, story. Both have the same amount of entertainment level. I just prefer the first 2 acts of this one, and I prefer act 1 and 3 of the second. 6 out of 10.
All right.
Interesting. I think I enjoy some of these characters better than part 2's characters, but I enjoy the story of part 2 better. But with that said, I think it's a good wrap up for Mary Lou because she sort of wins in the end and she gets Alex in hell for eternity. So that's why it's a good wrap up for me. It's dark and 6 out of 10 also.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. We aligned. 666.
Yes.
The number of the queen.
You got gotta win in the end. Anybody know what movie? Win in the end. You've gotta win in the end. No?
Is that Over the Top?
No.
Boogie Nights?
Feels like a chip.
No.
Natural Born Killers?
Karate Kid, man. It's when he's fighting in the tournament.
I knew. I should have stuck along the lines of Over the Top.
I thought that was that
The
other
best
one.
around comes
Yeah,
later.
the best around.
That comes after, but win in the end was first.
The best part of that is fight till you drop. Never stop. You can't give up until you've reached the top. You're the best around. Listen to that sound. A little bit of all
Let's
you
get
got
to the
can
main
ever
event
be.
here, which is obviously Prom Night 4.
No, the main event is for the listeners to go back to either the Green Room episode or the Sleepaway Camp episode and decide whether Dave drops more F-bombs in that episode or whether he says cool, fresh D more in this episode. Whatever.
Maestro Fresh West.
Maestro Fresh West.
Oh, wait a minute. Win in the end is not fucking... It's not Karate Kid. It's Teen Wolf. That's when they're playing basketball.
That makes sense since I had
Sorry.
no idea what song you were talking about.
I still wouldn't have gotten it, but I do love Teen Wolf.
It was Teen Wolf. My bad. Sorry.
What are we
Maestro
doing?
Fresh West.
Prom Night 4. Deliver us from evil.
Here we go. Deliver us from evil.
Prom Night 4, deliver us from this movie. 4 students ditched their high school prom for a party at a summer home. This should be summer home 4. Unaware that a psychotic priest is on the loose, determined to punish sinners. Oh my God. Megan. Oh my God.
There's some
Yeah.
women in this as well. And the women get cute guys, I guess, too. So everybody wins in the end.
And
Dude, all 4 of them are so attractive. 4 are very attractive individuals.
Callback. You're right, Bree. You're right. The priest is hot.
Laura.
Look,
Dude, they do a very poor job of aging these people 34 years.
Oh,
Father Yeager should have been 90 years old when he passed away, and Father Jonas.
they should have used a different actor. What the fuck? Why did they use the same actor?
Is it just because he's possessed by the devil and he doesn't age? Because when he shaves his beard off, he looks younger than he did 34 years ago. I'm like, what was he, negative 15 in the opening?
And he's in like that Steven Seagal like fucking like ponytail like for the whole movie. Listen, he's the worst actor in the film, the priest, in my opinion. Is he passable? Sure. He delivers the corniest lines, and he's okay, I guess, in the big picture. But he's definitely the weakest actor in this movie. I think the darker tone, I think the serious tone is a welcome return. It has nothing to do with really anything else. And they steal the footage, I think, or it looks like they've stolen some footage from the other movies to make the prom opening. I kind of like that. They sneak out, they go have sex in the car, and they're punished. I think that I think that's a good kill sequence. I think it's actually well crafted. The story gets a little floppy and weird when
good gore. It's good gore in that opening kill. It's the best gore of the franchise right there in that opening kill. And even when this film progresses at the end, Laura and Jeff getting killed and being crucified and burned and set on fire. It's darker toned.
That crucifixion scene is the best.
My issue is you got an opportunity with a crazy priest here. It doesn't have to be Hamilton High. That story could be done. Fine. They brought it in with the boys going to Hamilton High. These girls go to a private Catholic school. Bring it back to the Catholic school and have more Catholic schoolgirls running around being slaughtered. Break into the school
instead of the house or something. I kind of get that. Like it felt like they already had the location. Why not? It's almost like the budget didn't have to. I think the prom factor was maybe a budget thing. And that's why they didn't go back to a prom and they kind of skipped it and they ditched it to go to the house. But they still had a location. They could have easily moved it to that school. You're right.
Even if you keep it at the house, which I don't hate, you need another couple or two so you have more kills.
Yeah.
Again, there's a little bit of downtime. Once they get to the house, there's a lot of downtime. But I enjoyed this a lot more this time around than I did the first time. I'm like, you know what? This really isn't that bad of a film. I must have just been slashered out at this point. But it's...
Yeah, the opening and the last 20 minutes are great, and I will say, I will say that the middle portion is not bad, but it's a little, it's slow. It's not even a little slow. It's
dude,
slow.
it's like watching a wine documentary. How many trips to the fucking wine cellar are we gonna take here?
Lovingly, the cast is decent enough, and they are at least not annoyingly or obnoxiously bad.
They're likable.
Exactly. Yeah. They got good intentions. Even no one seems to be an asshole, and even when they prank one another, it's not like assholey level. It seems to be somewhat still respectable. You still kind of care about these guys. It's just it takes a little long to get where it's going. Like how the brother decides to tag along. They could have just introduced another couple, like Brandon said, and had 2 extra kills out of the gate.
I'm glad he got choked to death. He deserved that fucking perv making videos.
So I've got the DVD, not the one that. So again, thank you, Derek. He sent us the uncut version. So then I watched what was the R-rated DVD. I didn't see any difference. Now, don't get me wrong. I didn't go side-by-side comparison, but I watched the uncut one first, and then I said, I'm just going to check my DVD out quick and watch the gore scenes again and see what was trimmed. I couldn't see anything that was trimmed. Everything seemed to play out the same way.
Megan's bush was trimmed in the...
Awesome.
Nice.
But look, this is not the second coming. I'm a little bit more realistic now based on the fact that I think I was just in a slump, and again, the total opposite of Brandon.
You expected shit.
I expected shit because of how much people shit on this, but I actually remember renting this and thinking, that wasn't that bad way back when. Not bad, not great, but not bad. So then when hearing people shit on it, I'm like, maybe I'm just remembering it incorrectly. And I watched it for the slasher show and said, no, I like this.
No, it's not bad. It's got good character development. The religious tones of it are dark. I mean, the church being involved with is dark. When the cardinal comes in and he's like, he sees Father Colin dead, and he sees that he left a note saying that he tried to wake him up and help him. And he calls him an idiot, and he says, take him to his room and make it look like he hung himself. I'm like, fuck, this is dark. This is for real. I'm like, okay, this is taking a much more serious tone than the last one. I'm like, all right, I'm on board. I just forget even bringing it back to a prom setting. They just needed a few more people for added kills, but I did like all 4 of these characters. I didn't want any of them to die.
And isn't it weird that the prom's in winter? That was weird. I think that was a shooting schedule thing, Canada. And they didn't even talk about it. Yeah, that's bullshit. It's unless you're in the Northwest fucking territories.
I know. I'm in Buffalo. I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know.
But it's not out of the realm of possibilities. I would never say that it would never happen in 100 years. Snow in June. It could happen.
Or May, if maybe it took place maybe they had the prom a little early and it was May.
It could happen. It's not very likely.
Hey, they're calling for snow in Calgary this weekend. Labor Day weekend.
The proms do happen in May here sometimes. The end of May.
Maybe. I mean, it's happened. We've had snow.
Maybe.
Maybe. Yes.
But.
Oh, shit. But no, listen. I never heard anything about this movie.
Dave,
I never heard.
Huh? No, I was going to ask you something, but go ahead. I didn't realize.
I'm saying I never heard anything about this movie. I said I didn't even watch it when we did Year of the Slasher because I'm like, Prom Night 4, come on. After 2, and then I saw 3. I said, there's no need for me to fucking carry on. There's no way. So, no, I never heard anybody talk shit about it. But then again, that's what I'm saying. I just assumed it was going to be a complete shitball. So when Christian said he liked it, then I went back and I watched it. I go, yes, it's more slashery than the other ones I've watched recently, and it has this stuff. And the thing is this, I agree. I've never been on point every fucking movie like I have with Christian tonight. Everything he said, the beginning, the stuff with the priest and all that, and what's going on there, and the last 20 minutes are all solid, and the middle moves too slow. I will say this. I think you could take out maybe 5 to 10 minutes of the stuff with the priests. It might have been a little bit long-winded where they could have got their point out without every little fucking beat, and then added 2 more characters and have 6 people go up to the fucking thing, and let's dispatch them with fucking good gory kills. And that's it. And then you have a movie that is a damn quality slasher.
I agree with that.
This is not that. I enjoy it. Again, it's good. It's okay. It's like I said, I'll get to the end, but like part 2, I just don't understand somebody watching part 2 and part 3 and part 4 and saying that part 2 is fucking a much better movie. I just don't see it. I think they're all kind of in the same area.
And this wouldn't make my slasher list now. Again, if I went back, Dr. Giggles should have made it in, and this shouldn't have actually even been at number 46. I like Dr. Giggles. I've always said I have. True. So it should have made it in.
I would love to put a giant Band-Aid over your mouth right now. I really think they should sell those. I really want a giant Band-Aid.
And I would love to stick a giant safety pin right through your chin and just up to the top of and just stick it on my display here.
I'd love to fucking put your heads right here. But Dave Z had a cameo in this film.
Really? When?
Weren't you that truck driver? Because I'm gonna get me some pussy. Kitty, 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 kitty. I was like, that's Dave Z.
because he wanted pussy, or because he talked about kitties?
Yeah, both in the same sentence. Like pussy and kitties. This is Dave Z.
Motherfucker.
Kitty, 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 kitty.
Hey,
how about I can't believe we finished 12 years of high school. That was a funny line. Did you realize?
That's what he said?
Yeah, I can't believe we finished 12 years of high school.
Probably felt like 12 years.
And here's the Jamie Lee Curtis was a good callback.
Yeah. That was cool.
It's funny. They're trying to connect it. The fact that they had the Brock be in all four movies was a good touch. The fact that they put wedge the line in, it's not who you come with, it's who you take. Like they did enough to carry it through and have the foresight to actually say, okay, we're gonna have little nods. Hamilton High, this, that, and the other thing. Like, I mean, there's always a connection. So I got to give them credit for that. This is definitely
I like the house being the former monastery from the beginning of the film was really cool.
That's cool. And how about 1957? How about this? In the world that fucking Prom Night has built, the same night that Mary Lou burned down the fucking school and died, this other incident happened in the parking lot with the fucking couple and the priest killed someone. That's kind of cool. It's the same night.
Cool. That is cool.
Yeah.
I do like that. Because
it's just a bad night all around for that area at that night. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's cool how they deviate the story but still keep it set in the same world because they're obviously not going to bring back Mary Lou. So they kind of... They curve it a little.
They definitely needed a different actor. I don't know not what. So the only thing I can think of is the demon spirit being in him and not aging him because he looks identical. It was such a weird thing.
But they did the same thing with the other priest because it's 1957 and he looks like he's in his 60s then, and then it's 1990, 33 years later, and he looks exactly the same. And he's telling Father Colin, it's your responsibility now because I'm dying. He should be like 150 in that. So they were a little off in the aging process.
Low budget, man.
But Father Jonas, I'll go with you on that one, Christian. I think it has to be because the devil's in him at this point. Yeah. Because he becomes supernatural. He becomes supernatural. I don't know why they shave him.
Why
he
did
shaves himself? Doesn't he shave himself?
He fucked everything up. No, he's comatose. He's not shaving anybody. The guy shaves him. The fucking dumbass priest that causes him to fucking escape because he fucking shaves him and doesn't give him his medicine.
Oh, I didn't know if he woke up and then killed him and then shaved him. I forgot. I couldn't.
Hey, he fucking shaved him. Well, he should have left the beard on. Then he would have looked older. He had that long ass beard. Imagine how cool that would have looked. A fucking long ass beard killer. It looked like some Amish guy running around killing people.
It would look like Michael Myers in the Rob Zombie movies.
Right. I like that look. It's true to life. It's
Die.
That's Hamish. That's Hamish Myers.
Why did he shave him?
Well, they had him in the stupid ponytail. Yeah, have him with a big ass beard, and just have him kill. That would have fixed the whole aging thing too. At least he had a beard.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. He would have had a beard and long hair. He would have looked much different than he did in the beginning of the movie. That's for sure.
But they gave a couple of hero shots, like right out of action movies, 2 explosions.
Oh God.
Like him with the car exploding and him just walking away, hero shot, and then at the end,
and her at the end, Megan,
hero.
with Megan like
Alex
being blown away.
Shot. But they did a good job there, and I like. It's a very bizarre ending. It's a typical slasher ending, but I'm glad they didn't take it one step further. They just had him open his eyes, and her open her eyes, almost like they're connected somehow, and she realizes the evil's not over, and it just ends. Like I think that was better than how some of the slasher films do their. Usually it's just him. Usually it's just a killer. Beep, and then it's
it felt almost like part 2 type of ending where maybe the evil was passing from him, like he was dead, but his eyes open, and like the evil's transferred to her now.
And they bring back the phone calls in this movie, like they did in part 1, where she gets the phone call at the fucking place.
Well, this one feels very much Black Christmassy. You know, the attic, the rocking chair. This one has a lot of Black Christmas feel to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's just
POV.
They have POV shots.
Yeah. This franchise, I will say, you know, for what it is, does a good job of paying homage, I think, to a lot of films, whether it's intentional or not, whether it's just, you know, us being fans of the genre, picking it up. It's positives. I mean, I'll never fault a film for paying homage to other great films that I love, so, or feeling like it is anyway. But they just, you know, like you said, like, I know you're saying cut down on the precinct, add another couple. That would have been fine too. Yeah, or for what you had, I actually wouldn't have minded if there was more priest stuff instead of like the wine stuff. Like go back and forth and show maybe Jonas doing a little bit more killing, getting to the house. I would have loved to seen him. I would have loved to seen how he got into the house. I mean, I know you see the opening in the wall and stuff like that. You know, to the secret, you know, passageways and stuff, which is cool. But you know, it just needed a little bit more there.
Lots of nudity too. Like, I mean, there's nudity in this. There's also a good set piece when he's on the roof and he's stabbing that crucifix knife up.
When he stabs him through the foot. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's good. Well done. And
how about when he throws it down? He just throws it down and right into his
shit. Yeah, what a shot.
But the best scene in the movie is that whole crucifixion with them going on fire. Like, you would not expect that in this film.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. Best scene in the movie. It's actually, because you're like, they do it very well. It's well directed, well edited, because you're like, what is that? And you can kind of make it out, and then boom, they go up in a ball of fire. And it's like, it's shocking.
Yeah, it's something you would see in like The Witch or something. It feels like a cult film all of a sudden.
It's crazy. And that is where I think I give it a little bit more credit. And I don't understand why people hate on it so much, because it's made more competently than a lot of movies that people fucking praise. That's for sure. Maybe it just needed a little jolt in the middle, like we said, or a couple of extra kills. Done. But other than that, I don't find the fault in it. By no means perfect. And again, I reflected my score a little bit based on the fact of what rewatching and whatever. Like that opening and that last bit are great.
Yeah.
But it is a little long in the tooth in the middle.
Just because as a slasher film, it just lacks the kill count.
Yeah, you needed. That's why they threw the brother in, and I think they could have easily lost the brother, and gained a couple, for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that girl Laura, she kind of reminds me. I think she's great. She kind of reminds me of Tina in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah,
and right. And she was born in Buffalo.
Yeah,
I looked her up.
I looked her IMDb up because a lot of them had a career. Like they've been in stuff. Maybe you haven't seen it, but they've been in a lot of things.
Well, Megan was what, in a Star Trek, like a big star in one of the Star Treks.
Yeah, I think again I saw.
Yeah, Megan, like she had a career. She became a big name, I think, for Star Trek. One of them, maybe the Next Generation or something. But you know, she was terrific in this. I could have just watched her trying on lingerie for an hour and a half.
My gosh.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. Both of those girls, man.
Yeah, I mean, everybody was so good looking. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Even these guys, I'm like, Jesus, look at the coiffs on these fucking guys.
Just that cut from but it was Jason Lloyd that shit on me for putting this on the list, and then that's where it sort of stemmed from. And I think just people never really gave this the time of day before, but it's not a disgrace. There's not a lot to talk about in the film, to be totally honest. I think we've covered a lot. Like
that great kill at the opening, the kill of Jeff, like you said, on the roof, then he falls off the roof, then he's impaled again. It's like 3 kills in one. Not seeing Laura killed, maybe a missed opportunity. They do a sort of when a stranger calls with Jonas being in the bed, which is cool. But you don't see her killed. Jeff gets like a Friday the 13th, the head squeezed, lifted up off the ground. That's when you know that Jonas is supernatural and the demon has him. So there is some good stuff in there. Like you said, just an extra couple in there. But I think I probably came up like a 1.5 on this. I was below a 5 on this the first time I saw it. The first time I saw it, I was like a 4.5. I think I gave this 4.5. Like when I shit on a film, like it was never a 1 out of 10. I just remember thinking like, God, this is so bad. Maybe it's just, it was towards the end of watching slashers. I was slashered out.
Well,
and I'm
again,
admittedly,
based it on his acting too. He's like, like God has no mercy on the weak. And I'm like, now you die, slut, or go with your slut. Like, I mean, some of it works, some of it doesn't. It's overdone. They could have probably pulled back a little bit on him a little, but it's not. I don't see the hate.
Yeah. You know what? It didn't even bother me that much as you've brought it up. That he's the weakest part of it, which you're probably right, because everyone else is fairly solid and his is over the top. But I kind of didn't mind it for what his character is, this demon-possessed, religious fanatic, kill all the sluts and sinners and stuff like that. So I didn't mind it. And the stunt in the shed with him being set on fire, the stuntman that did that, it looks really cool.
Yeah, it did.
It really did.
Yeah, and I love that weapon. Just like one of those
like shooting a holy water and
it shoots fire. Gas and fire, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. And his weapon is cool too. The crucifix with the knife.
Oh, dude, that was awesome. That's a great weapon.
It is. Definitely.
I'm telling you, if there were 2 more kills wedged in there and just a little tightening up, I think this movie would have been held in a higher regard by a lot of people.
I could see it. I can definitely see it. You throw in a decapitation kill, homage to part 1, especially with that weapon. It's a perfect weapon to decapitate someone with. And or I mean, if you go crazy, you take it back to a school. Can you imagine a crazy religious priest, and he used to work at a school, and the beginning takes place at the school, at like the Catholic school, and then it takes it back to a prom at her Catholic school, and then you have more kids and then opportunity like that. So, I mean, my criticism is almost more of the fact that I see an opportunity for an even better film.
Sure.
Than I think it is.
Why not they go to the prom, and so instead of just mooning, they actually go in for a bit, and he starts coming to the school maybe, and they're like, let's blow this fucking pop stand or whatever like that. Let's go. We've came, now let's fucking hit the road. Yeah. They go, and the priest follows them from there. So it gives them someone to fixate on. And so he came in and says, like, like the sinners or whatever, follows them to the house, and then now you've got the final act. And like they could have wedged the prom in a little bit more. Another
you get
couple,
a few kills, and you get a few kills in the school, and then
he
takes the car, and then he follows them.
And then he kills a couple.
But who taught him? But who taught him how to drive?
Loomis.
Loomis.
The Loomis School of Driving.
Paul Rudd.
Yeah, Paul Rudd.
Anyway. If I could go corner ratings, I probably would have come in at a 6.75, just a little notch below. But I'll keep it where I'm going to go with 6.5. I think that's a fair rating for this. I still really enjoy it. I do think it's the best of the sequels. I really do. I'll stay true to that. I enjoy it the most out of the sequels.
There you go. I'm at a 6. 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm at a 6 also, all the way up from 4.5 to 6, right on par with part 3 for me, and just below part 2. But
that's cool.
Solid franchise. I really, after this time around, I would watch all 4 again. Absolutely.
And I said I wouldn't necessarily, but I would. Like you said, if they came up with a nice set, and it's not just the movie. I have the movies. It's just special features and stuff for the other movies. That would be.
And look, most of them are on Prime or Shudder now. The only one not is 3, and we got a copy. Your friend Dave sent us copies of them. Yeah. That's what I noticed. That's how I found part 3. It's I have the copy of that, and it's funny enough. He sent us a copy of Prom Night 3, 4, and Humongous.
Oh,
that's right.
Derek B did send him out, but if you're out there and you don't have a Derek B in your life, it is on part 3 uncut is on YouTube.
Correct. Yep.
So
check it out. Good stuff. Not a bad franchise at all. And
but that original, just to bring it back to the OG, really, probably the most underrated I think slasher there is. I mean, I know there are people who love it, but it just seems so divided, that first one. You get people who just say they absolutely, and it feels like it should be held in a much higher regard because it's such an early one.
I really want you guys to watch remake, and I said that in air quotes because it's
I'll watch it.
It's called Prom Night, and other than that, and A Killer, there's absolutely no connection to the other movies.
I'm actually gonna watch it just to see.
One day I will. You know what we should do one day? We just have a discussion about remakes because we're going to be able to do that. And thank you, everybody. Everybody was very accepting of the changes that we're making and what's going to be going on in the new year and everything else. But it's going to be really cool. And I think that they know why. I think that if we just do 2 movies most of the time, that leaves more time for more discussion. So maybe we can have we can do like a remake and an original or something new that comes out or whatever in the future. And then we can have like a fucking half-hour discussion about just remakes in general and, go through a chronological thing and just give a
list of remakes. I love
just
lists of those. We haven't had what we call, a bullshit show, even though it's not a bullshit show. It's just like a shoot the shit show, where we just talk topics. I miss those.
Yeah. I mean, I could go on. I could go on about, again, I hate calling it a remake because it's not a remake. But like I said, it's so generic. It's the jump scare style, which the jump scares don't even land. So that's why it falters. If the jump scares landed, I would have elevated it into the 6 range. Because it's not a poorly made movie. It's just so blah. Like there's no thought going into it. And it's almost more insulting. They use the Prom Night name to then not give us a good remake. A good remake would be using...
Those remakes seem to fall into a category of paint by number cash-ins. I hate to say it, but they're so uninspired. And they usually have talented actors in them, names people who might have gone on to have big careers, and you're like, why is this so bad? Because there was no care in it. It's probably made by like studio people who are just like, oh, we can cash in. This was a big horror hit. Let's make it. They're probably not even horror fans.
Well, I don't think they are. I think they're trying to get the teenage girl crowd in, and I don't mean to be sexist. That's what I think they're trying to aim for. And so I'd say, like, out of the 3, April Fool's Day is probably the worst, but I've only watched that once of the remake. Then I'd say Prom Night, which is still bad or bad enough. And then I would say that When a Stranger Calls remake is watchable. It's actually a little bit more thrilling. I think the worst part of it is the lead actress is a little uninspired. I think she could have used a little. They could have had someone better in that role. But other than that, I would love to do a show on those because I think they just sort of came and went. They were quick, like uninspired catch grabs.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that someday. Why not? That's cool. So anyway, that show, Prom Night Franchise, was brought to you by Mitchell Johnson. So thank you very much. He gave us 3 to pick, 3 franchises or trilogies or whatever, and we picked this one. So that was good. I'm glad we did it. That was good stuff. And the next show is picked by Kevin, and it's Would You Rather, Night of the Demons, I Trapped the Devil, and What We Do in the Shadows. So 4 movies.
Not to spoil anything there, but it sounds like 2 fairly quick reviews and 2 longer reviews.
We'll see.
Yeah, we will see. Yeah, nobody knows for sure. But that's it. That'll be 119. That was 118. And we're out of here, right? That's it. Thanks, guys. Thanks for everything. We love you.
Peace.
We love you long time.